welcome to another episode of A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie. But today we're doing a girl, two guys, in a documentary. With us today is our friend, the Crafting Gamer, and Janet from another planet, always looking stunning. And then myself, Bruce Lombardo, hello from the side camera.
Hello,
How
everyone,
are you?
Oh, sorry.
We are professional streamers here.
Yes.
As soon as we say that, our phone starts parodying the YouTube sound.
Yep.
That's how it is. So, we just watched a movie called In Search of Darkness by David Weiner. I believe his last name is pronounced Weiner. And he did some other movies. He's got two other films in the In Search of Darkness series that I want to see. And he also did In Search of Tomorrow, which I was very excited to see it. And when I saw it, I wanted to stop after about 2/3 in because it just ran out of fuel. But this was a really good kind of like a mainstream look at movies of horror films from the 1980s, and it goes all the way through from 80 to 89. I thought that was neat. What I know, Crafting, you didn't see all of this.
No.
But are you in Janet's Discord?
No, I'm
Yes,
not.
I am.
I turned it off.
Well, the reason why I ask it,
He was asking if I'm in your Discord.
if you can view it on her on the link that I've got, I'll tag you in the link for this because
Okay.
it is different.
Yeah, I thought it was way better done than the other one, the second half of the other one we did, the documentary, except there was quite a few woke people they were interviewing,
Yes.
pushing a lot of agendas into the movies. And that's why we're at where we are, honestly.
Yeah, I don't agree with all the statements that were made from the various people in the film. And as much as I love John Carpenter, I don't really align myself with the reason why he made They Live. I enjoy that movie as a movie. I don't need to worry about anything else.
If he really thought that way, why did he put aliens in it? See, that's what I'm saying. They're hypocrites. A lot of them. When they say one thing, but they do, their actions speak otherwise. So.
Oh yeah. I have the habit of occasionally being a bit hypocritical. I'm not defending them. I'm just saying that is part of human nature. It's just that's something you need to curb, not take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Understand.
Well, one of the things this movie documentary got like a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I use that a lot when I choose to go rent a movie or whatever. Is if it's got a high rating by the experts. I usually don't want to see it, but if it's done by the people, then I enjoy it. I usually like it as much as they do. So
yeah, I truly enjoyed this movie, and I thought it was really worth the time we spent to view it. And that's not something that you hear me say that often.
I will definitely have to sit down and watch it. Bruce and I have similar tastes for movies.
I've tagged you in it over at Janet's Discord, so if your computer will allow you, I don't know how you have it set up. Sometimes my links work for other people, sometimes they don't. But
I have not had a link not work yet, unless it was not done properly. So it should be good.
Okay. So yeah, this they start off in 1980, and I don't have a lot of experience of horror films from that year myself. I've not watched a whole lot, but I can value the craft and the theory crafting they have for a lot of what they did.
Yeah. Well, I have actually a fair amount of experience with 80s
Sorry, I'm
horror movies.
setting up my trying to get my chat set up so I can talk to people because I have people talking and I can't chat on yours.
Sorry.
There's no chat there, so I'm trying to set mine up. But sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the
Just give me the-
downsides to Restream. They don't have open chat on it.
Well, I still have another month, December, at the end of December, so I got a little while to check out other streaming things.
Yeah.
So, but there was a lot of good things about this. The way they explained the details of all the intricate parts to making a horror movie on a cheap budget because nobody wanted to make one. You know, no big company wants to sponsor, at least back in the 80s, sponsor a horror movie because it was, they never thought it would be a blockbuster. And then because of the ingenuity of some of the people getting together, like what we talked about in The Thing, using black garbage bags, you know, and they melted it down over the metal letters, and it said The Thing, and they had that white light strobe looking at it. It was a genius. I mean, it was really, really good. And I can tell a lot today in movies when I'm watching them compared to the older movies, that special effects sometimes take you away from the movie. When you have puppets and makeup and good sets and things like that, you don't need all the CGI. And, you know, I don't want to see every scene all be CGI backgrounds and stuff. I just hope that they don't end up doing that. That's why I love independent movies, because they do it on a budget.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know right off the top of my head, I know actually 5, but the 5th one's not good. Really, it's not. But 5 80s horror movies. And 4 of them, 2 of them I absolutely love. 2 of them are okay, and the 5th one is garbage. But the 2 I really love is House 2 and Waxwork, which we already seen. I'm trying to get you guys to watch House and House 2. I think one of you has already seen House.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did they come out in the 80s?
I believe so, yes. Hold on. I have House 2 in my shed right now. I'll put it up there. Hold on, give me a second. I can actually look at the date.
See, I looked up the few because I was a little disappointed in some of the ones that I was waiting to hear more about, the details behind the scenes, about the music and the sets and the makeup and the monster stuff in the background. And they didn't even talk about the movies that I was waiting for. So I was a little bit depressed over that. But the movies that I was wanting to see was, I think it was, I was trying to remember what, Cat's Eye, Terror Train, and Funhouse. Those are 3 of them that they never talked about. I guess they just weren't big enough money makers. But Terror Train had Jamie Lee Curtis in it, so I was really surprised that that they didn't bring that one up, because they did talk about her a lot and her being a scream queen and everything. So I was just a little bit sad. But Fright Night, they brought that up, and I'm so glad, because the character, what Stephen Vincent's character was, you couldn't have done the movie without him in it, Vincent's character, and how they took the 2 names and made one.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought a lot of those little details was really, really good. And, you know, the people they had on there did really good about the details behind each of the movies, especially the ones they were on. And when they showed that one, I don't remember what the name of it was, about the head, and it was being held by the scientists to, you know, like terrorize that woman. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. Was it a porn? I mean,
I can't remember.
It looked like it would be rated X, honestly, from the little bit. I can't believe something like that would have came out in the 80s. So I was just shocked by that.
Yeah.
But it did have a lot of big names, and it had John Carpenter. It was Jeffrey Combs. I'm trying to remember the ones. David Keith. I'm trying to remember some. Tom Holland. I didn't really know the women. that much, especially the one lady that looks like she's had so much plastic surgery on her face that her cheeks are like
Darcy, the mail girl.
yeah, I guess. I mean,
She
it was
was
like
she was in a
like
lot of
Catwoman.
she's been in a lot of adult movies, and now she hangs out with Joe Bob Briggs, which for those of us that give a shit, like if you're doing your own thing and you're having fun and making money, paying your bills, and then you decide you need to like take life on easy street and like take it slow, and you go hang out with Joe Bob Briggs, like I don't care how cool Joe Bob might look in that Texas button-up shirt, but like I felt kind of insulted he was wearing that. I really did. He like, damn it, you're not one of us. He is one of us.
Yeah, I was like, he's from Texas when I saw his shirt, for
I
sure.
don't. I can't.
I did
stand
agree
that
with him.
guy.
A lot of the things he said, though, about the movies and how he thinks that the last comments they were making about, I said, dropping the ball and making horror today because Hollywood is so busy trying to please everybody, which is impossible. And if you make it way too lefty, the right people don't go see it. And if you make it way too right, the righties don't go see it. So you have to make movies down the middle. And it doesn't seem like they make those anymore.
They don't.
They don't try to make movies just because the story's good. And they try to throw all this agenda shit in there. And
Well,
I don't want to see that.
Something a lot of people don't know. I mean, it should be common knowledge because of how Hollywood works. Hollywood overall is actually owned not by Hollywood. It is owned by big companies.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, it is like, yeah, it is. I forgot how exactly it works, but like Walmart even receives a chunk of some movies because they help pay for them. And of course, in the case of Walmart's case, I think it's like supplies for props and that kind of stuff. But that is how part of how Hollywood works. Really weird, obscure companies you wouldn't expect get money from movies because they contributed or even helped pay for it in ways you didn't know they would or could. I mean, Walmart is one of those more obvious ones. Well, they just supply stuff for props and that kind of stuff, and food and other things. Okay, yeah, well, admittedly, that one actually makes sense, but I think you get what I'm saying. I found this one out through Bear, actually. It's him talking about how Hollywood is owned by big business.
And that doesn't really make sense if you think about it, unless somehow they're getting a bunch of unless they're getting lots of tax incentives or something. Why anyone would take $10, $25 million and invest it into making a movie knowing they're not going to make any money off of it because it's so woke, nobody's going to watch it. If it was me,
I don't know.
I would read the script, and if I liked it, then I would say, hey, I think this is a really good movie. And if I like it and I talk to other people and let them know about the story and they like it, then it's going to probably be at least make my money back movie, make a test to see whether or not it's going to be good. That's why a lot of people now make shorts.
Yeah.
Short films.
Bear didn't say this, but I'm pretty sure they actually do read it. I'm pretty sure the companies that have the big hands in there, maybe not Walmart, but like companies with their hands really in the pie, probably have read the script and make it worse. I mean, I don't like conspiracy theory too much, but I've seen enough to know big business wants the general consumer to think a certain way.
Well, all the sets that I've ever worked on, almost all of them, the producers, they put money into it because either they know an actor that asks them if they would help produce it, or one of their kids is in it, or a cousin, or their wife, or whatever. Yeah. They put money in on it, or for some other reason like that. Most of them don't really know that much about the story, and they kind of flim-flam go over they don't really read the script. They're just reading this little bio about it, like it's a real short version of what it's about. And then they say, okay, then they go and sit there, or some of them even bring their kids and other people. Like you saw, a few of them talked about how some of them would bring their wife, or their wife was in this scene, or their sister was in the scene, or whatever. And I saw that all the time because you're helping produce the movie, so you get leeway to make changes to a script, basically by adding people to it.
I could forgive that if it's something along the lines of a cameo or a back character. The moment they try putting him in a main character, it's like, no, and they act, then fuck you.
Well,
I mean, I understand why they can't say that, but that would be my internal dialogue. No,
the director is always right on the set. And if you don't agree with the director, then you usually don't get to work on the movie.
So, how dare you?
Well, that's the way it works. And the big people, the big company that's backing most of the movie or is paying for most of it is the one that picks the director. Just like you heard, what was it? Was it John Carpenter that said they didn't like the direction he was taking the movie, so they went and got rid of him and got someone else?
Yep.
Okay, so that does happen. Even big name directors, if they're pushing something that they think, and who knows what his vision would have been like. It probably would have been 10 times better with another person. But you see it and you're like, what the hell is this? You know, you just think it's like, this isn't anything I expected it to be. And then sometimes you watch the trailer and the trailer was 10 times better than the movie. So, you know, you just get what you get. But if you have a bunch of people that love the script and love the characters, and you have good people putting the music in it and the sets and the costuming and all of it, just like a lot of them said, they showed you. I thought that was really, really good when they showed you parts of a movie with no sound.
Yeah.
And it really does make a difference. That's why a really bad soundtrack takes you away from what's going on, and you just kind of go, you know, the movie's not very good. Or you have a really good soundtrack because you can close your eyes and envision what you think. Like that movie you got me to watch, the the cartoon movie that I thought was beautiful, the drawings and stuff, but the story was like, what? There wasn't really a story. It was just
Fire and Ice.
Yeah, Fire and Ice. If it had a good story, it would have been. The soundtrack was freaking phenomenal, I thought, and the drawing was the cartoonish part of it was beautiful. It's so much detail and everything, and to have no story that took you anywhere before you care about the characters, it just dropped the ball, I thought. So all of it has to come together, or the movie isn't going to be a hit. I mean, like, Gremlins, because they made a few tweaks here and there, it for some reason it just snapped with people like us. Would go see it and we were like, we liked the little bit of comedy mixed in with it being a horror, thought of putting yourself in that situation. And then when they talked about, what was the other one, the very last one with the little boy that got run over,
Pet Cemetery.
I remember seeing that, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And the same thing is, I read the book Cujo. My mom let me read that book, and I cried my eyes out because the boy died in the end because they couldn't get out of the car, and he died of dehydration. And it was just horrible. I just bawled. And then when the movie was coming out, I said, I don't want to see it. The kid dies. And someone else had seen it and said, no, the kid doesn't die. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. So I went and saw it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy the little boy lived to get to see
I've never seen Cujo the movie. You just you might have sold me on to like actually watching that one of these days. Hold on.
It's a good movie. You like her. You like that actress. She was in The Howling.
Denise Crosby. Denise Crosby is amazing.
Yeah, she was.
No, not Denise Crosby. You're right. It's Dee Wallace.
Dee Wallace.
I was thinking Denise Crosby because she's in Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, Pet Cemetery.
Dee Wallace is America's mom, Janet. She was in E.T.
She was
in
good.
Critters.
She's a good actress.
She was in Cujo. And she was also in The Howling, which we need to view. And
that other actress that was in Lost Boys that played the mom, she's been a mom in a lot of movies too.
Yeah.
She's very soft-spoken and stuff. I just thought she was adorable in Lost Boys, that actress. But I thought they did an excellent job setting everything out. It's just that I was really let down when I saw a bunch of movies that I really thought were really good. They were more low budget, though, like I said, more independent type movies, and they weren't even mentioned. So I was kind of, it kind of let me down a little bit. But when you watch it, it's got a lot packed into it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that. Well, when there are so many horror movies out there, there was guaranteed they were not going to cover every single one you wanted them to. I mean, that would probably require like 100 of those,
Yeah.
and then they
Hold
just
on, I
keep
gotta
going
write
because
on that.
occasionally, I mean, I don't know about recently, but occasionally they still release a good horror movie.
Yeah, it had a lot of information in it, so I was like,
Would
oh
Tremors
shit, maybe
count
I
as a
wish I
horror movie?
could have rewinded it. I didn't see Tremors on there. Because Tremors
No,
came out in the 90s, didn't it?
1990.
Okay, I was going to say. I thought it was a little older or younger, I mean. But there's so much information in this, it's hard for you to absorb enough information before they go on to the next one, especially when it was really detailed, like when they were talking about the movie Christine. Okay. And I saw it years after it came out, but I thought it was pretty good. I didn't really like the actor they got to play the kid that ends up having the car. I don't know why. I just couldn't connect with him for some reason. But when the one gentleman was talking about that one scene about the car, that they had to crush the car and do it rewind to make it look like it was coming back together again, I was like, holy crap. They wasted a whole car to make that scene. And it was a gorgeous car too. I would have liked to have had it. I always thought that was sad, but I didn't know that. I didn't realize that they did that.
That's one of the things I found out about Hollywood, not through Bear, but actually through watching Adam Savage. Hollywood is wasteful.
Yeah.
Some prop houses are like reuse things. Like I forgot what it is, but there is like a picture used for every horror movie. I think through almost every horror movie through a certain period in time, or some prop like that. I forgot exactly what it was, but there was a prop that was in almost every single horror movie because it came from a particular prop house. But in general, in Hollywood, most things that get made for a movie just get thrown away. It isn't until recently that prop house that people start taking that stuff, and even then, it's still not that uncommon for everything to just end up in the garbage. So Hollywood can be one of the most wasteful types of entertainment there is.
Yeah, and that one gentleman that was talking about how a couple of them made comments about Ronald Reagan being president and how it ruined everything, how it ruined the lives of normal people and stuff. And I was like, what? These people do not live on the same planet that we do.
There's a disconnect in politics with people that are in film because they have to say certain things to keep their next job. Okay. So they have to say things like all Republicans eat babies, or like
that's why I didn't get very much work apparently, because I was like going to kiss their ass and say, oh yeah, I think it's all that. I think I don't care who you are. If you are a guy that has to work 6 days a week making, $18, $20 an hour, that seems like a lot of money, but it really isn't. If you're the only person bringing home money for your home, and then you have kids or whatever in your house and a car, and you got to drive to work and do all this stuff, and you're just a guy working on a set, moving lights or moving props and doing stuff like that, it's, a manual labor type job, and they are the ones that need the money. Okay, but those are the ones that get taxed the most because we're the ones shopping, doing all this stuff. We're not the millionaire director or producers or the stars that come on the set, and all they do is walk on when they're told, because they have stand-ins and they have makeup people and they have costumers. They have all these other people waiting on them to make sure they look good, making sure they're fed and whatever they want. They're air conditioning, buildings or trailers, and then they make a huge check for 6-7 days of work, and the other people are making minimum wage or a little above minimum wage.
Yeah,
and they look good because of all the work all the other people did. And then there's a lot of people doing work on it, like the ones doing the music and the editing. Sometimes the crafting, people don't even see the actors. They just push the food in there, set it all up. The actors come in and eat stuff, and then they leave, and then they got to go clean it up and get it ready for the next group of people, things like that. The people that do the porta potties. I mean, there's just if you don't ever get to go to a set, there's so many people working behind the scenes that are making minimum wage or a little bit above, and you get paid per day. And the way they do that is they balance it out each night, how much money they spend that day on the set. Like if you have 3 different places you have to go.
I'm just pointing at what it said here by.
Oh, about his 2A. He didn't like guns. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Ronnie's 2A stance wasn't super tough.
Mhm.
He wasn't nearly like, Adam Schiff levels of cuckoldness, but he wasn't super 2A like Colton Noor. Like if we had a Colton Noor presidency, like I know for a fact everybody's guns are safe. Everybody's.
Yeah.
Reagan wasn't that weak on guns, but he didn't really do much to promote the 2A. He just kind of sailed the ship in a straight line.
Well, my parents really liked him, and they said he helped people make more money and things like that. So
his policies are what he's known for and should be heralded as, because his policies are what made America amazing in the 90s. If only he had gone the route of the Trump and gone for tariffs instead of income taxes.
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Hopefully we can get people to back Trump this time. See, the thing is that what happened to Trump before, after 2 years, he didn't get anything done because there was nobody that said, sure, let's pass this bill. Nobody would do anything. So he had to do everything by executive order, which is why the new administration just wrote their own executive orders and out that went. It's no longer, they don't care about that. So that's why I can't do that. But the thing is that was one of the things that I didn't like about that, because they were preaching to you, the viewer, about how their point of view on politics. Okay. Which is fine, but it was like over and over and over again. Every other person or every third person was saying the same thing, and they also kept doing where it seemed like I remember them talking about a certain movie, and then later on in the movie again they bring it back in again and start talking about it again. So I don't know why they broke it up that way instead of keeping it all.
I think they were focusing on like things like music or score or the special effects, some pranks that you get with CGI versus other things. They did that a few times in this film, where they would go over a movie in a proper year of its release, and then they would, on a special subject like a bad guy or how to write convincing the final girl, which became something of a meme or of a thing back in that time. That's what I feel they were going for, because I don't think they wanted to really just rehash content, but I think they wanted to reiterate points like it's the Nightmare on Elm Street movies that really gave the concept of the final girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you could even go as far as saying the Jason, the Friday the 13th movies did, which I would disagree on, because they were just excuses to get young teens topless. Not young teens, but young adults.
Yeah, I was like when we watched that one movie, the hamburger movie that you recommended, I was surprised how much nudity was in that. I don't know. I just never seem to have watched as many movies as other people that they just blatantly have nudity in it just because there was no reason for it. I thought that's so.
I want to keep my job.
But like I said, I got a casting notice asking if I would be topless in Hot Tub 2, Hot Tub Time Machine 2 or whatever. And I just said, no, I won't do it. But someone did it. I'm sure. I haven't seen the movie, but
I'm pretty certain. I just never saw part 1.
I never saw the first one either. But I'm just saying there's lots of people out there that turn down these roles. I mean, when you do a nude scene in a movie, they just put little patches over it's called modesty patches. They put them over your nipples, basically, and a tiny little sliver over your crotch. That's it. That's all you're wearing. So and then you got like 25 people all running around around you while you're naked laying there. So that one woman, I could kind of understand what she was going through, but she chose to do it. She's the one that laid there and let that guy hold the head around her and all that stuff. You know, you can get up and leave. If it's too much for you, you can get up and leave. But a lot of people don't because they're afraid. Oh, if I leave, I won't get another job. Which it's like I said, when I wouldn't wear a mask, I didn't get a lot of jobs, and I didn't get the jab, so I had to go elsewhere to find work because they didn't want me because I was going to infect everyone and kill people, and I never had COVID. So, and that was another thing I thought was kind of lame, that they kept bringing up the reason why they did these movies, or they think that the reason he had this movie was because they wanted to bring up AIDS. What did AIDS have to do with anything with The Fly?
The Fly you can say The Fly is an anagram for like cancer, just like the movie Annihilation is with Natalie Portman. That's a movie we'll watch one of these days. The Fly is an anagram for cancer because you get to watch a good, healthy man with a sound mind start off, and you can see the start of their relationship. Hey, Jackie Blue. And you can see things kind of get together and they're good, but then things just start to fall apart. And when I say they fall apart, I mean this movie, though The Fly goes into exquisite detail. David Cronenberg doesn't make movies like that anymore, and he should. He really needs to go back to form, because The Fly is the best movie that goes into the physical degradation of a human as it goes through the metamorphosis into a fly mutant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to be an anagram for AIDS or cancer or whatever you want to look at it as. Because really, no matter what the director says, oh, this is an anagram for like gay butt sex and unicorns, you can interpret it as whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
It's your head.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else gets to believe the shit that's in there but you.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
supposed
the reason
to
why
be
I
the
always
director's.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Go
If you
ahead.
have something that jump.
That's why I always hated it. Well, this movie meant this. This movie had this message. Because more than once, you talked to the director and said, "I had no message. I was just making a good movie."
Very rare directors will say that. Very rare.
When I was younger, they said that.
But now it's
I
the
haven't
age of the
listened to a lot
actor.
of modern media, so I don't know what they say nowadays. Like
Yeah,
E.T.,
and
for example. It used to be something I was watching as a kid, and then it turned into nothing but how can we smear the stars today? And then I was completely lost interest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd watch E.T. again. I really don't.
Well, I'm not talking the movie. I'm talking Entertainment Tonight.
Oh.
But the one thing I thought was interesting, because I tried to look up a few things when we were going to watch this today. It said that In Search of Darkness was initially began as a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. Like, I think it was like 2018. And the project met its initial goal in 2 days, because I put money into a lot of Kickstarter stuff. That Cyber Frog comic book, that was something I put money in so that I could get certain things. Depending on how much money you donate, you can get stuff, memorabilia. So in case it is a big hit, you can have something.
I did that. I'm not telling Bruce everything I'm sending him, but there's a Kickstarter researchers.
You're sending stuff again, dude? You want to do this?
Yeah, I told you this a while ago.
Yeah.
I have no space for terrain, and I'm getting 4 sets total: a basic and 3 side sets. 3 theme sets. I literally have no space for them. I'm more theater of the mind, and if I use miniatures, it's more on a piece of paper like you do now. You play with miniatures and do a lot more of the miniature than I normally do, / actually have the room for them, will use them, not to let them collect dust for 5 years before maybe busting them out. And there's a couple miniatures in the set that I have absolutely no use for because they will never come into play since I'm going to be doing two things: Palladium and my game pretty much exclusively from now on, and neither one of them has driders.
Wow.
And there is a big fucking drider in the set I'm getting.
Okay,
I think that's
I'll take
half human, half dark elf, half spider things.
Driders are just fucking awesome. Janet doesn't know what those are yet, so we'll make sure to help her with that gap in knowledge.
Though there is an awesome demon miniature I'm getting that could easily pass for a champion of corn.
I guess
So
maybe
that is mine.
I'm too old, but I hear the word corn and I hear I hear drums and bass. I'm like, shit, we're not.
Oh, you're talking about the band?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'll admit they were actually a pretty good band.
They did
So,
talk
guys,
about.
we don't talk about Vito in here. Vito drags down the brand of Italians. Vito's a piece of shit, and he's a fucking pedophile. So fuck Vito.
Oh, did you see what Gay said? Vampires don't need jobs.
Jabs.
Oh, jabs.
Because I said that I hadn't had the jab. But
Yeah.
it said, I was also found that it said In Search of Darkness is a 2019 documentary film written and directed by David A. Weiner and executive produced by Robert Bloch, a creator of, is it VC Studios? Is that Vancouver?
I think
probably. Because I thought I heard someone say they filmed a lot of it in Canada. It says an international co-production of the United Kingdom and the United States. The film explores the development and lasting impact of the horror film genre during the 1980s. The features interviews with numerous horror icons, both from that decade and from now. I liked almost everything that they did. I mean, almost every single thing. I liked everything about it, but it was hard when they did a bunch of it at the beginning and then they went back to it again. So I was trying to remember what they were saying earlier and put it with what they were saying afterward. The first documentary that we saw, what was it? Search of Tomorrow. They didn't do that. You know what I mean? No. It wasn't broken up that way. They really deep dived into the one movie, talked about it, and had a person brought people in to talk about the different parts of the movie and what they might have worked on, whether they're an actor, and how they got it to work all together. Now, I can understand the part where they broke it off when they went to the part where they were talking about the puppets and the creatures and a little bit of CGI and puppetry and different ways that they made it. Like, I was so happy to see them talk about American Werewolf in London, about the transformation of those two people. What was the other one? Was it from The Howling?
The Howling, because The Howling got off to a start 2 weeks or 3 weeks later than American Werewolf in London. Rick Baker at that time had been training Rob Bottin on how to get your props to look camera ready, and then he had to take off and do American Werewolf in London. Well, after that happened, Bottin puts in his resume for the Howling, and he actually gets the job. And they start production before they start production on American Werewolf in London. And I don't think there was a collaboration between the two men. I don't think they were really talking, on the phone every night how they're going to do this. But both movies had a transformation scene. And Bruce prefers the Howling transformation scene a little bit more because just of the level of grit that you feel the muskiness of the room when the poor man is just doing that change. And there is a neat bit in
but
American
the thing
Wolf
is he wanted her to see him change.
Yes,
because he wanted her to see what was really going on. And then when she started changing live on TV and she was crying and stuff, it was just really heartbreaking, and then nobody believed her, nobody believed, they thought it was fake.
Well,
So
I love the Halloween movie. I actually, the first two Halloween films I really like. I need to see part 2 again. I need to see part 3. And as much as people probably are thinking I'm an idiot, I'm going to watch all the Halloween films at some point because
yeah, I think they might be good. I don't know. I only saw the first one, so
Dee
see the
Wallace
others.
plays a reporter in the first one, America's Mom, as I call
Yeah.
her, and she's just outstanding in that movie. There's very few performances she's done that for me have satisfied me as much as what she does with the Howling. She really goes all out, and I was so happy to watch that.
Yeah, I was really happy to get to watch this whole thing about horror because there's other documentaries for the 90s and then I think it's the 2000s too, right?
I'm not certain what the other two are about. When we get there, we'll watch and
Okay.
we'll discuss.
Well,
'Cause
I'm just saying, I love horror. I've loved it ever since I was a kid, and my mom wouldn't let me have, my vampire comic books and stuff because she thought I was too, just diving into them because I'd run around and try to bite my sisters and stuff like that.
you
I
had
think it's
5,
great.
or you had 4 sisters. I mean, you know,
But the thing is,
if
I just
one
loved
got
it.
bad, like the other 3 would be okay.
Well, maybe.
I need to make a quick apology. Okay, how do you pronounce the guy from Twitter's name? The guy from X's name?
Elon Musk.
No, on
Elon?
the chat here.
Guy.
Jake.
His name's Guy.
Guy? Oh,
Guy.
I am dyslexic.
Like, hey, Guy, how you doing? Like that.
I am dyslexic. When you have a 3-letter word that has a different vowel from just one vowel difference, you confuse me completely. I do deeply apologize. Like I said, I'm dyslexic.
Oh, he's okay. He'll be all right. He's a good guy. He's a friend of mine on X. Thank you for stopping in. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm just being honest here, so he knows I did not mean it that way.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But I don't know. I don't know what else to really talk about besides
They
ones that they
omitted
did.
Wolven.
Huh?
They talked about a bunch of werewolf films at the start of the 80s, but they fucking did not mention Wolven.
Yeah, Wolfen. Yeah.
Wolfen was amazing.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was good. And it had, what was it? What was the lead actor's name?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, no. That must be a different one then. I'm thinking of another one. I can see his face, but I can't remember the name of the movie.
I think it's TLJ. Let me look.
Because I remember seeing that movie, Wolfen, but I thought it was another guy. It was an older man. I just don't remember what his name is.
Oh shit, my bad. Albert Finney.
Yeah, that's it. That's who it is.
For some reason, I was thinking TLJ.
So I was like, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong movie. But they did talk about Scanners, and that's a movie that we said we were going to do one day.
We are always talking about Scanners because we will never not talk about Scanners.
Yeah, that was a really, really good movie. It was very well done. And see, that's another one. Like I said, I can't picture anyone else playing the characters in that movie. I mean, that part of movies has become, to me, is iconic. When you get a character that I can't picture anyone else playing that part. Maybe a younger person that hasn't seen it before and they're seeing it today, they would say, "Oh, it's okay," because it's not. I like to meet young people that are interested in watching older movies to watch the progression of where we've become. And a lot of them say, movies aren't that good anymore. Once they start watching movies from the past and see how much more details put in it. Because today, it's like I said, all they do is remake stuff. If you write a script and you try to take it to Hollywood, they don't want it. Now they'll pay you for it, measly, a few $1,000s maybe, and then they'll take 5 or 6 of those and put them together and make their own movie instead of writing something themselves. That's why I think a lot of the people in uppers in Hollywood are happy with the CGI stuff and the AI writing stories, because they can just talk about a bunch of stuff. Hey, we want, a Batman kind of character, a billionaire, that's womanizing, blah blah blah. We want him to have these people from this country to come over to have a bomb. They just talk to it and then it writes a script for them.
All the script, the entire script is written right there, pounded out. No soul involved.
And that's where I think it might be going, because, as I've said, for a while, every so often a really good movie comes out, but it's getting fewer and fewer and fewer. They're making the same movie over and over and remaking it because they already own the script. See, they don't have to pay anyone new. And when you are a screenwriter and you fight for your place in there, your name is as big as the director's name when it comes up on screen. That's a prominent thing for a young person who wants to become a writer in Hollywood, but they don't really want to do that. And that's why you see so many young girls and guys that are willing to do stuff with some of these psychos, because they're afraid if they don't, they won't get the job. And that's sad. That's why I hope all this stuff comes out pertaining to all this stuff that people have been used in Hollywood, in other areas, modeling, singing, all that, because of people with power making you feel like if you just do this or that and give them a little tidbit, take them to parties and show them around, this is my friend, whatever. And then when you say no, they just say, take her home, and she goes back, and then they won't call you. Then you're sitting there going, God, all I had to do was that, and I could have been famous. That's what they're thinking. So they end up going back. And then the next thing you know, they're passed around and they never get anything. And it's sad, but that happens all the time. And that's why I hope all this P. Diddy stuff and all this and the list from Epstein's Island gets to come out, because I think we need a clean house in that genre and start with all the young people that are writing scripts now. I mean, I'm on a couple of screenwriting websites, and there's lots of people that are writing really good stories that if the right person read it, that has a the decent person and had money, they would
a chance to be.
Do what?
I actually missed a chance to be in a zombie movie simply because I did not have the gas money. Over in the next state, were looking for zombies, people to play as zombies. You didn't have to. Well, zombie, you didn't have to be talented. You'll be brain dead, and you'll be a good zombie. But I really, really wanted to go, but their timing was crappy. I did not have the money for gas. If they had just a week earlier or a week later, I would have had money.
Sorry to hear that, dude.
Yeah, it really does. It stinks. But see, that's one thing. Like me, if things were a little better, and if it does get better, I would want to move back to New Orleans or to Las Vegas, somewhere like that, because there's so much work for things that I like to do, the promo work, things like that. I could do it really, and stay busy as much as I want, get as many jobs as I want, no matter, because I'm tall. That's one thing, is there's very few women in the industry that are as tall as I am. And, most of the women, it's hard to believe they're like 5'7" and shorter. So I tower over them even when I'm not wearing heels. So, and it's nice when you get pulled in to be able to be in a movie with somebody that's the same height as you, and you all, because you have to make them look normal. You don't want someone who's real tall like Gina Davis. She's in a movie. She needs people around her friends and stuff, to not all be short. So she doesn't look like she's like 10 feet tall. And same thing with Tom Cruise. He's not very tall. So you have to, or Sylvester Stallone. He's not very tall either. So they cast men that are his size or smaller, that look bigger on screen. So he looks, bigger than he is. So you can do that, I guess, now with CGI. I guess they can do whatever they want, but it just won't be as believable, I don't think.
I was very happy that they showcased the 2011 Thing movie when they talked about new advances in CGI. And I tried my best not to cackle and howl with laughter because you want to hear Bruce just fucking throw a TV or like throw his keyboard through a video display unit. Um, well, have you watched that pile of shit? Okay. There was a wonderful movie made back in the early 2000s called Harbinger Down. And the story behind Harbinger Down is basically a special effects company made a movie, and they grabbed this guy Lance Hendrickson. They put it on Kickstarter, kickstarted it off,
Mm-hmm.
and they made this wonderful film that's kind of like Aliens. It's an isolation horror film, but you have these people that are on a sailing vessel and they are investigating the satellite that's fallen to the earth and the organisms on it, which is kind of very cool because it does have a good backing in science as to what happens, how does it go wrong. But they made Harbinger Down because they are the same group of people that got fucked by the fucking studios in
Mm-hmm.
California because they had made all these wonderful practical effects for the Thing, the prequel, the 2011 release of Thing, which I've watched once, and I despise it. The very end of the movie tries to tie the Thing one and Thing the prequel and the Thing 82 together, and it does tie it together fairly well. It's just that I don't want to believe that movie exists because all of the creature effects are CGI, and while Bruce watches shitty CGI, my brain is freaking the fuck out because it's like that's not real, that's not real, that's not real, that's not real, that's not real. That's what's going through my fucking head when I watch garbage CGI trying to make a gritty or a realistic CGI
Mm-hmm.
special effect. I just can't watch that shit. And I'm watching that shit, and I'm about ready to fucking just ditch this. I'll go get another fucking TV at fucking Costco. Fuck it. But this is fucking like they're trying to talk about how the Thing they were praising the Thing 2011, and that's
Mm-hmm.
such a fucking garbage fucking movie because of all the facts. The script is passable. The acting is mediocre, but the special effects will rip you right out of the film, and it's garbage. It's worse than a fucking Marvel film in 20 fucking 20. Okay, it's garbage. And so the Harbinger Down movie was made because they wanted to show people what they could do. They wanted to show people that they could make a quality movie with practical effects. There's very few CGI pieces
Mm-hmm.
in Harbinger Down. All it is really is just they use computers to get rid of the wires. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a movie we'll be watching far in advance from any fucking viewing of the Thing 2011. Fuck the Thing 2011. Um, it's if you want to know what happens in it, just watch the first 2 minutes of the Thing, 1982, and the people that run a helicopter shooting at the dog. That's those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very succinct. Very much better. I've saved you an hour and a half, and you possibly destroying your television because there's some garbage CGI out there that just does not pass, and that movie CGI does not
Yeah.
pass.
Well, that was one of the
That's too
things that I
bad.
enjoyed about the documentary was the fact they actually had people on there talking about um, how they're sad to see that so many companies are going to CGI and not using practical, uh, you know, effects anymore. And to me, just like he said in the documentary too, was the fact that he said it's more enjoyable. I loved it when I saw that movie with you, the Gamers Darkness Rising. Not just because I saw so much effort, okay, and work that they went through to make this movie, and I could tell they did it on a small budget, but it was so good, it made it even more believable to me of a group of people playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons, basically, and them like the guy that was wearing the woman's clothes, he's playing a woman character, and they let him be the one, and it wasn't like saying, "Oh, transgender," none of that stuff. It didn't even make you think about any of that stuff that the Hollywood's trying to push on you. It seemed natural because he's a character. He ended up having to play this woman in this part for the game, and I thought it was adorable the way they did it. So practical stuff like that, the effects, like the makeup or whatever it is that they're doing, or even the rubber skin for a burn or a stab, or having a projectile come out of their chest, like in the movie Alien. They didn't even talk about Alien in this one.
No.
They did a great job, and it was scared the shit out of people. I remember everyone talking about that part when he was laying on the table and his hands were going like that. And as his acting on top with the thing popping out of his chest, it made you really believe that that was happening to him. And see, that's why you could have a guy going, "Oh my, oh my, oh my," and have something happen to him, and you'd go, "That was shit." Even if the special effect was good, you have to have good acting along with the special effects or the practical makeup. But when they talked about The Shining, the same thing with the Shining parts that they did. The part where he said he was at the bar, Jack Nicholson was at the bar talking, and he was such a good actor. He was nuts. You could tell it and you believed it. You know what I mean? Like she said, the one girl that interviewed, she said that it looked to her like in real life they hated each other, or they couldn't stand each other, and that's how good of acting they did, because it came across not just in what their words they were saying, but their emotional, the way they moved their hands, their facial expressions, all that stuff plays into whether or not you have feelings for the characters. If you either hate them or you want to see them be successful, and you can't if you can't connect with them. And to me, that's why a lot of these scary movies that we've watched and they're iconic to us is because we connected. Even though Mogwai was just a little a puppet, wasn't even a real person, we all loved him, so I don't know. I just think that kind of stuff is very important for anyone to want to tell others about it. You need to go see it. It was so good.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it, but I have talked to several people who have. I'm not going to say it's a good series, but a lot of people I know says The Mandalorian did a nice blend of CGI and physical effects for a modern show. Yeah, for a modern show. And that's more of what we need today, a blend of them. Because, like, for example, the only time the mini Yoda, I forgot its name, because it's not Baby Yoda, it's one of his species though. Grogu, thank you. Most of the time, Grogu is a puppet. Really, the only time they CGI him is when he needs to move a lot, or when he's in his floating crib. Most of the time, though, he is a puppet. All they do with CGI there is enhance his movements to make him look a little more alive. And that is how you should do CGI nowadays. You use a base puppet, and then you tweak the puppet's movements with CGI to make it just look a little more alive.
See, that all depends on the budget. Who's
that is
it.
True. That was all a Disney show, so they have a huge budget.
So it just depends on. But see, practical effects are good.
Oh yeah,
they really work if the people have the same. If the guy directing it, the editor, and the person running the puppet all have the same vision of what they want the outcome to be, it will be good. See, just like I said, that one few seconds of a scene made me had chills go down my back the first time I saw it when it came on the big screen from The Thing. And later on, when I found out what it was and how they did it, it was like, wow, really? That was so freaking scary. When they just took garbage bags and covered up some metal letters, and they put a white strobe light thing behind in the background, and then they melted the plastic. And when you see the thing emerge like that, it gave me the creeps. But that was something that was in someone's head, and they said, we got to figure out how to do this. We can make it work. Like the little models that they used in the movie that Bruce and I did the one with the they wanted freedom. They were living underground, and it was time for them to go and commit suicide. Basically, what was the name of that movie again?
I'm losing. I
can't remember. Not Legend or something. It was a futuristic movie, and the world had been destroyed, and it was regrowing, and they were all underground and starting to run out of stuff because everything was falling apart and everything for making their food and all that stuff. And he was a runner, and they killed the runner.
Logan's Run.
Logan's Run. The models.
I can see Jenny. It's so terrible. I know the movie you're talking about, and I see Jenny Ecker's tits because that was what stuck with me. The last time I watched it is the first time I've watched Logan's Run, not on syndicated television. And on syndicated television, they don't show you her boob scene. You don't see it. You don't see her boobs. So for years, I did not know that scene existed. Now I do know. And now I'm very happy. I mean, knowing's half the battle. So I'm very happy that I've seen the unedited version of Logan's Run, which is really a great film. Edited or not, that movie's worth it.
But the detail they went into for the sets. Look at all the detail with the frozen. That one whole frozen thing had all the frozen fish and all that stuff there. And anything that came in there, the robot would freeze it, thinking it was supposed to be food, right? Because it was breaking down because it'd been there going for so long, and there was nobody left to fix everything. Okay, so they made the sets themselves, like just like in The Thing, and they said they used a hot tub and painted it and stuff to make it look like it was a big chunk of ice, things like that. They had to use their imagination to come up with something so that when they looked through the little square, what it was going to look like once it was on film. I just thought that was great. That just shows the ingenuity of the people coming up with something, just like the critters. When he talked about the critters and how they moved around and were able to bite and make all those noises, and they said it pretty much was almost no money spent on them.
That they were just using bot parts they had, and they were using actuators from like radio control cars.
And look how good it was.
So cool.
Yeah, but see, that's what's sad. We have so many kids that sit and play video games all day instead of using their hands like you two do. You two are constantly taking something and making something extremely cool out of it with your own hands. You're making it. It's not something you stick in a machine and all of it comes out. It's already painted for you.
Well, you got to check out our buddy Shadow and Sons channel, because Shadow shows people how to make terrain on the cheap. And when I need to know how to do terrain on cheap, I go through his videos, and that's what I'm looking at. He's fucking maestro that shit.
He doesn't make those as much anymore. I'm trying. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
He doesn't make those videos as much anymore. I'm trying to convince him to do so, though. Thing is, he wants to make them with his son, and his son is at the age where, Dad, you're not cool. I want to do my own thing.
Oh, okay. That I can understand. We've all had that, and in our lives, we know more than our father. You find out you're wrong about age 28 or earlier, but majority of us. I'm lucky enough to talk to my parents on a daily basis if I so choose, and I usually call them after
I
work.
actually got lucky growing up. Sorry. I actually got really lucky growing up.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The reason I was really lucky growing up is because I actually valued adults. I was not your atypical, I know more than the adults. No, I was like, even the dumbest person on this planet has more life experience than me when I was a teenager. So I respected my elders. And generally, I preferred the company of either women or adults anyway.
Yeah, it sounds like Ruben. Ruben was like that too. He didn't have a lot of tolerance for people his own age because he felt like they were dumb. He says it a lot, but that's because his intelligence was just way higher than theirs, and they were boring. And then when he'd see him doing dumb shit, he's like, "Why is everybody doing all this dumb shit?" But see, I was the same way. to certain things because all my guy friends were like, "Hey, let's go." When I was in like 8th and 9th grade, they said, "Let's go. We're gonna go and we're gonna trash a bunch of mailboxes tonight." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They go, "Well, we're gonna get some bats and golf clubs and stuff, and we're gonna drive and we're gonna ride in the back of the truck." And he drives over. We're gonna smack him and tear him up. And I was like, "Why would you want to do that? Some of these people can't afford to buy a new mailbox." And then they'd look at me like I ruined their night, you know. But I couldn't help it. I could always see what you're doing and how is it going to affect other people. And I remember when the first time I snuck cigarettes out of my mom's purse, and I went out in the woods, way far out in the woods, with two of my friends. I mean, almost a mile out. Okay. And I was lighting matches, you know, on a box, and then trying to light a cigarette, and then I'd throw the match on the ground and stomp on it, you know, trying to act cool, you know, whatever, like I knew what I was doing. And you know, it was great. And my head hurt, and I got sick to my stomach and nauseated because I was trying to smoke, and I never smoked before. It was horrible. So we all go our own way, and I go home, and then I was supposed to go stay the night with one of my friends, and she comes, picks me up, her mom, and I go over to her house. And about an hour and a half after that, I'm at my friend's and we're eating dinner. My mom calls over there, and she says, "You need to come home. We need to keep hosing the backyard." And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "The woods are on fire." And then I felt like shit. I felt so bad. I ended up telling my mom what I did. I told her myself, and I got grounded for 3 months. But I just not very good at that stuff. But I care, you know. I try to tell other people stuff so they won't do the same dumb shit as me. But you know,
It's like,
not everybody's like that.
For a buddy of mine, I did not hang out with those idiots, but a buddy of mine tried to get me to hang out with a group that they were literally proud to have stolen stuff and looked at me as I was the outcast, the black sheep, not even black sheep, like the person that doesn't belong because I hadn't stolen anything. And then one day I finally got up the guts to steal a candy bar. To this day, I want to go back to that gas station and pay for that candy bar.
I would say go do it, but I realized, like, wait a second, you probably don't drive.
Nope. Medical reasons.
That's fine. I kind of understand your situation. I see what's going on, but it'd be a good idea to at least like see if it's still the same owner. If it is, you know, throw them a fiver.
But I was going to say one more thing about the documentary. After seeing the In Search of Tomorrow 2 parts that we watched, what I was let down a little bit by the second part because they just kept trying to cram their point of view down your throat instead of just talking about the movies that they were and why they did certain things to make certain movies a certain way. This one, they broke it down a little different. I didn't really like it as much as I did the way they did the first one, but they put so much stuff in it. It's amazing how much detail they went into for certain movies. They didn't do it for every one of them, but they had a lot of people on there talking about just sets, the actors and what they did to do the part, like the guy that played Jason Voorhees.
Kane Hodder.
Yeah, that actor, I loved him. Every single thing he did and talked about, I was intrigued by. I would pay money. He said he signed autographs and stuff at cons. So if I could ever go to another con, now I'm looking forward to maybe being able to have one of his classes. Sometimes they have like classes you can go to, or a special VIP thing where you go in the back and they talk about different things. You get to ask questions, and they have like pictures and stuff like that, and behind them they talk about it. I would sign up for that with him because he seems very.
I think the next convention we have here, I'll have to get in touch with Adela.
Is that a horror con?
Yeah, they got a horror con in San Antonio
Yeah,
that you come
that'd
to.
be fun.
And Kane Hodder, if you are a card tapper, not that Jan or I play Magic the Gathering, but he plays Magic the Gathering, and after the con, you can find him at like a Denny's playing Magic the Gathering, drinking the pitcher of coffee with other kids here in San Antonio, and other horror con people.
Oh, tell
He's
Bruce for a while.
done that with the guy that used to star in the Michael Myers films. They've been hanging out here together,
Mhm.
and they've been caught at a Denny's quite a few times, behaving like gentlemen, I might add. Go ahead, sir.
I built. I know you don't play Magic, but I know if you ever did, it would be the deck you play. I built a Who Let the Dogs Out deck. It is nothing but dogs. And the best part about this deck is I have a one that they call the Pack Leader. It basically, when you're attacking, it makes your dogs invincible.
Oh God, that's a very addictive game. That was the first case of addiction I was able to break.
Yeah.
Miniatures, I've not done that. In fact, I'm waiting for a sign. Do I buy this package from Reaper? I've got my checkout cart ready. All I've got to do is click OK, buy it, and I'll buy it. But I'm not certain. I haven't sold myself on buying it yet because
What's
one
in
of the
it?
pieces is really cool. What?
Ask what's in it.
Let me go to it real quick, and I'll just
What
share.
did he say?
Oh, Bruce has found
Baby
a
girl
box
says
of miniature set. Oh, sorry.
she's not a big horror girl. Baby girl's not big into horror films.
Oh, okay. I
Not
thought he was
everybody
saying
can be.
something. Well, my mom didn't really like them. She thought she just said she doesn't like to get scared. So
Oh, and
I think I
Guy, you're
told
right.
you. I think I told you that we did that. Sandy and I took a pillow, a great big body pillow. We put pants on it and a shirt, and we had one of my mom's wig holding things on the top, and we drew on it, and then we put boots in it, and then we took a butcher knife and stuck it in the pillow and put ketchup all down the front, and we laid it in the bathtub, and we had these smoky glass sliding doors in the bathroom because we only had one bathroom, like I told you that before. And my mom, we heard my mom screaming at the top of her lungs. She came in there, boy, we got a spanking, and we got grounded because we scared her real bad. She had turned the shower on and then looked down and saw a guy laying in there, basically.
So the
first,
first
there's a simple
thing
question
I
when
was
it comes to
looking at,
this. Oh, sorry.
yeah. I'm going to show you the cart I've got right now. It's like at $80. They've got some other things going on for Halloween themes. You got a special Halloween figure you get, blah blah blah. The Kaga Mossback, the Shellback. This is a $13 miniature, and a lot of the proceeds go to the people affected by Hurricane Helen.
Oh, that's good. Helene.
Helene. I have to get this.
I wish I had money right now. I'd get a few miniatures because I'd love to help.
Don't worry about it.
What's in it?
You get this miniature right here,
Mm-hmm.
and to me that looks like a really good figure. Like almost like you get 4 of those, and you have the Ninja Turtles. You could replace the staff with something else, but I like you have to kit bash that, but the way it is just vanilla, I love that figure. And let me show you what it looks like. This is the Kaga Mossback Spike Shield Druid. I'm sorry I didn't share this. I thought I was sharing it. I had to click.
That's okay. I knew it was just really small. I thought, well, I can't look at it this close, but I can see what he's talking about.
So this is the first figure on the list. It's like $13.29. Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
The second
How
figure,
big is it? How tall?
he'd be about the size of like one of these human-sized figures.
Okay.
You're usually about $7, but when you have a fundraiser, you're gonna jack the price up a little bit so you can actually send the money there. The second
those
figure,
are gruesome.
oh yeah, this is like right up my alley.
Yeah, I know.
I want to get 2 of these. I want to get 2 of these because like we're getting ready to play Czar again, and this would be right up my alley to just throw you guys. You're playing the high level game. This should be something that you should be worried about. You see this get on the table.
Yeah, it's a giant mouth on its chest.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Maggot Crown Bone Sack is his name.
disgusting. That's
The
worse than the one thing that's grabbing your face and putting those things, those tentacles, and sucking out your eyeballs and eating your brain.
So this is a set that they released, and it comes unpainted, but you get a halfling figure, some bounded up corpses, some spiders, and like a little ruined shrine. To me, that looks pretty sharp. That looks actually really
That
sharp.
is not. That is definitely not a Hobbit reference at all.
No.
No, that is really nice side. I wouldn't mind having one.
And then to go with that is Erikoth the Ancient, which here's the box set for it. And here's what somebody has done with it, which I think would be perfect for what I would do myself, because I love brown. If you know me, I have many shades of brown in my paint kit. So this is the package from Reaper. I'm just waiting to sleep on it for a minute because I've got some other things I must paint first. But
yeah, that spider was pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Now, the only real question needs to be answered, Bruce, when it comes to that. Not so much do you have stuff that needs to be painted before it. Will you get it painted in time for the story? Because if so, then I'd say go ahead and get it. If you don't think you can, then I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Well, he wants to get it because he wants to, put a little bit towards.
Well, oh yeah. Well, I don't blame. Well, in that case, I already forgot about that. In that case, I would say just go ahead and do it, simply because of the drive.
Mm-hmm.
If I had the money right now, I would be doing it just because of the drive. Oh, speaking of which, Six Nations. Since we're taking a quick break, I have a computer I bought. Long story short, I live on the edge of my Wi-Fi, and my new computer does not like it at all, so it doesn't work. If I'm in real close to Wi-Fi or directly connected to the box, it works great. I didn't pay too much for it, so if we could find a way for you to get me $250, I will send you this computer. It is literally brand new. It hasn't even been used to look up porn.
Well, you didn't help him out there. One of the things that
actually that's technically a lie. I did look up porn on it. I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about also with the documentary is the details that go into a little bit about how they, met different people and how over all the time, the different movies they got to work on, they're still friends. So you don't get to hear a lot of those type of stories that much. And that's one of the reasons why I like documentaries, because you get to get a little bit more of the human detail. Seeing the actor that played Childs and get him to talk about like the dun 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 dun.
Music.
Leading up while the dog is running through the snow and somebody's shooting at him. And then you had the guy come out and he's trying to shoot the people shooting at the dog, that type of thing.
Yes.
To open up the whole thing for the chaos. You don't really know what's going on. Why are they trying to shoot this dog? All this different stuff. I just thought the human aspect about how can you work with someone and spend that much time together and not end up, talking about different stuff besides just the movie. And I think that was I like that part of it too. I thought that it went into a little more detail on this one than it did on the first In Search of Tomorrow. It didn't go as intimate between the actors and stuff.
Not
and
really.
Your comment about the one guy that he's from Texas, clearly, because he's wearing a Texas shirt. He looked like a good old boy.
Joe Bob Briggs, he's all hat, no cattle.
Well, he was entertaining. I mean, he didn't say a bunch of woke stuff. Um, I'm a woman, but I firmly agree and believe that you shouldn't lower standards just for a person to be able to get a part because it's going to suck. If you give them, if you wouldn't do it for singing. I mean, if a person came in and they were on like American Idol and they go ah, they scratch like a cat and they sound like shit. Would you give them a record contract? Hell no. So why would you do that for a person that comes in and wants to be a
They
cop?
have.
They can't run and they can't do. I know, but that's what I'm trying to say. There's no common sense in any of that because it doesn't make any sense to give a
Oh
person a
no!
part in a movie.
What I mean by that is they can fake it really well, even in some, not all, but some movies. Is I forgot what actress, I forgot what singer it is. They literally have a second singer that sings for her, and she just lip syncs everything. She is literally just a body.
Well, that's not the same thing. That's not what I'm talking about. Is when you're hiring someone to be an electrician or electrician apprentice or anything, if they don't know anything and they can't do the job, why would you hire them? That's what I'm saying. But they say, well, we have to have this many people. Like now, they've made changes in the way the rules for making a movie. If you're not missing a leg, then you can't play a character with one leg. Stuff like that. It's just they say that it's going to bring more realism, but it's going to also shrink in the pool of people you can choose from to make your movie a success, make people believe it. So to me, that whole thing that they did pushes you towards AI. You see, they're going to use fake people to portray them because they can't find the characters they supposedly need to fulfill the script. Or they have to change the script around to fit around the characters they can get, and then it's not the same story anymore. See?
That is actually
that's wrong.
Already started online. I know of. I actually listened to a Warhammer lore channel, but it is voiced by David Attenborough, and I guarantee you he is not doing a Warhammer lore channel. So AI has already started on YouTube for that kind of stuff.
I know
and
that
I know
they
have
been using
video
it
that look like people. So in the end, it's only a matter of time before Hollywood will see that. That's one of those things you can integrate it in, but it should not be your main source of thing. Like, we need 200 people in the background.
I've worked on a couple sets. Yeah, I've worked on a couple sets, and what they did was they had a hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of seats in a stadium that for a movie. So that had to make it look real, and they didn't want to make all CGI. So what they did was they got 100 people, background people, and they had them bring multiple outfits that they would wear to a game or to an event or whatever. And then what they would do is have them put the stuff on and give them signs or whatever so they can hold it up or cheer or whatever it is they want, the big finger pointing up, stuff like that. Okay, and they have them all sit down at random, and then they would videotape or, film that section of the seating. Then they'd have everybody get up in random order and go sit on the next row that goes up like that. And then they'd have them either change their hat, take their hat off, take their sunglasses off, make changes, change their shirt, all different things like that, and move them around. Then they'd film it. So when they put it together and you see them pan across the thing, it looks like a whole stadium full of people, but they're real people and their arms are moving and stuff. You can't fake that with CGI. It just does not look the same as real people. It just doesn't.
It's like
and when you try to make CGI and you got every fifth person is the same person, if you're a person that watches movies a lot, you're going to be able to say, hey, look, it's the same person over and over and over again.
The movie Dave does that.
It's
same
dumb.
6 people are grouped together in the crowd behind the president and vice president.
It's bad.
That's the movie Dave.
That right there is actually really lazy good, CGI. Sorry.
Well, they had real people. It's just
they had
or they made them with CGI. No. They could have done.
I'm not referring to what you're saying, Janet. I'm referring to every fifth person being the same. That's just lazy CGI.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Excellent example.
they-
It's a
they
cartoon,
group-
but it was still CGI
Cheap.
based. Was
Yeah,
Zootopia?
but it was cheap.
And every single character, it looks exactly different. So that's just lazy AI or lazy
Plus,
CGI.
when Bruce and I watched that movie with Gina Davis, what was it? Cutthroat Island. Okay. I had
Yeah.
never seen it because I was told it was a box office bomb, basically, which it wasn't.
It held the record for
Yeah.
the longest
Well,
time.
yeah, not a box
Oh.
office bomb. It was
The biggest loss of money.
the biggest loss of money of all time. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records because of it. So I didn't bother to go see it. Why would you? Because of that people talking about that went all around. So it's word of mouth will hurt, or it will help or break you. It really will. So it's best to have the people saying good things than bad things. But once we started digging in, and we found out that that these people that were involved making the movie were spending the money on other shit. They weren't spending it on. They were like $60 million in debt before they even started. But because you had people that loved the movie and wanted to be in it and wanted to be successful, Gina Davis and a lot of the actors did all their own stunts. And they reused old costumes from other movies for, because that means the people that were setting up the costumes says, hey, we only have this much money, but hey, I think I know this person and that person. They got together and they worked on it, and it was phenomenal. I mean, the sets, the costumes, all the different stuff that
choreography
they
was
did
good.
a great job with a small amount of money. Even though it says they spent a shit ton of money on the movie, they didn't, because the money was spent other places and not on the movie. So little things like that are really
there. It's the money. They didn't have much money for the movie, and yet what little CGI there is amazing. It is. I won't say it holds up to what could be done today. I won't say what is done today, what could be done today, but it also does hold up as still being good CGI.
Mm-hmm. Because the person who was in charge of the CGI cared about what the product was going to look like at the end. Bruce and I have watched many movies where the movie was really good. I mean, you could see that the parts that were the certain scenes were just phenomenal, very believable. The score was really good and stuff, but it was like jumbled up, like big chunks of the movie were missing. Okay, and that's bad editing. So if you got an editor that doesn't really give a shit, like that one, what was that one movie we were talking about where another production company didn't want their production to be good. So what they did was they paid off some people to go over there and be the editors, and they purposely did shit on it so that it wouldn't be successful. So, but you have to dig and dig to find that stuff. But
wait till Janet reviews Event Horizon, boys. That's all I'm gonna say.
I haven't seen that.
Well,
so
you have?
I don't think so.
Well, when it comes to editing.
But that's why it's good to watch these documentaries. Like I said, sorry.
What I was saying is sometimes editing can be surprising as who will do it. Like, excellent example. I think if I remember correctly, the story goes like this: the first Star Wars movie would have been absolute garbage. The way what's his name?
George Lucas edited it.
Yeah.
The way
George Lucas
edited his wife shows up.
Yeah, his wife.
His wife shows up, and she's the one who edits it and she does not have an editor's degree, and yet she edits the movie better than he did. So sometimes it's not just it's just knowing what you do. Like you were saying, it's not just.
But you know why that worked? Because she was married to him.
That also
she
counts.
knew a lot of his faults. She understood a lot of his faults. So when she sat and watched it, she was like, "Oh man, I gotta help him with that." So she went and fixed it. Okay, and a lot of husbands like a wife that does that. But then there's other husbands that go, "I don't want my wife fixing my shit." So that was their relationship. They're not married anymore either. I don't think. Are they?
That part I don't know.
Okay, well there you go. Well, that's what I'm saying. He was lucky that he had someone that loved him enough to go back behind him, which wouldn't be any of his underlings, because they're afraid to say, "Oh, and this is shit," because they won't get hired back. See, so they won't say anything. They'll let the shit go out because he's the one that did it. But because it was his wife and she actually cared about him, and she's like, "Honey, this is terrible. I'm helping you fix this," and he listened to her because she was his wife. That's the reason. But man, what a difference it would have made if she hadn't stepped in. See, that's the sad fact, is there's so many people in Hollywood, like, let's say, all the things that happen with some of these singers and actors, drinking, doing drugs, and they have one person maybe saying, "Please don't do that. Please, this stop drinking. Let's get you some help," or whatever. And if they listen to them, they get out of it. Just like what happened with Robert Downey Jr. His wife said, "If you want to have this relationship with me, you're going to have to do this." But she was there for him. She supported him and helped him through his transition to get out of it. And look how much better his life is now. See? So it makes a difference when you have people that believe in you. And I can see that. I feel when I watch certain movies, I can tell everyone that worked on this movie loved this movie, wanted it to be successful. And that's exactly what I saw on everyone that was actually out on the sets and working in the movie for Cutthroat Island, wanted this movie to be good. And it was. What hurt that movie was the producers and big guys up on the top that don't give a shit, that never go down on there, down there and do anything, that didn't give a shit, and they were just spending the money that wasn't supposed to be spent there, and they were already in debt. So that hurt them. That hurt their sales. If they hadn't had that happen, it probably would have made who knows how much money, because it was a very good movie, and I wish I could have seen it back when it was should have been seen. But that's one of the things I liked about the documentary we watched, because they go into details about different things that you probably wouldn't even ever think of. And if you're interested in how movies are made, even if it's not horror, like if you like comedy or any of it, it's pretty much just all the same thing. And one thing I really loved about it was when they talked about the Academy Award specially done. They made a category just for horror, because there was so many good movies that came out. I guess what wasn't the Howling one of the ones that was nominated too? Mm-hmm. So I love that, because I've always loved scary movies. It's scary stuff on TV, scary comic books. I'm just really into it. I've always been into that. I like the kid, screaming, or even if I've had nightmares afterward, I still would want to go back and watch another scary movie. It's just, I don't know why, I just like it. So it was nice to see that the people that award people for doing a great job and recognizing all the hard work that goes in behind the scenes made a special category for something I love. Just like the two girls in the very end were talking about, anyone walking down the street, you wouldn't know if they liked horror or not. You don't know. It's for everyone. There's so many people, black, white, man, woman, whatever race you are, it doesn't matter. Lots of people like horror. So the fact that we have that genre, I love. I think it's great, and I hope that their lesson will start making movies because they're for entertainment value instead of whose agenda they could push on you. Just like I say a lot about all the other movies, but I can't help it. It all boils down to that.
Excellent example of that is, I think it's France, Germany, and Japan make some of the most famous. I know Japan for sure makes some of the most famous horror movies in the world. Like, for example, the one with the house and the ghost.
13 Ghosts.
Forgot what that one's called.
13 Ghosts.
That was actually
Ghosts?
the one with the Japanese ghost. The one where they were in Japan.
One that's crawling out of the well.
The Ring?
That's Ring.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't know. You guys might not have seen it. I can't remember what it's called. Crap. But there is a movie where an American family goes to Japan to take care of a distant family member who's all their memories, all of her family members have died, and she is crippled, so they want to take care of her. As they find out later, the reason why the family died is because the Japanese ghost. And if you know anything about Japanese ghosts, can't run, you can't hide, you will eventually die. Period.
Unless you get rid of the ghost.
You could run to the other side. Well, no, you can't get rid of the ghost. That's it. That's the worst part. The best you can do is trap it somewhere, and when it gets out, it's just going to be angry. It's not if, it's when. That's a Japanese ghost. You just better hope that it's trapped long enough that you die of old age before it's free.
Well, that sounds joyous.
No, I didn't know that about Japanese ghosts. I guess I hadn't seen that movie.
The same rule applies for Jewish ghosts. There is no running. There is no hiding. You just die.
Well, there was another movie that popped in my head. I didn't write it down. I have notes. Didn't Jeepers Creepers come out in the 80s?
2000s. So.
Oh, really? Is that young?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was older.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. A show. Sorry. No, Jeepers Creepers. Yeah, it came out at that time. Jeepers Creepers, that is actually a really good horror movie. The second one.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
I mean, the second one is not bad. It's not as good as the first, but it's actually not bad for a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part is the vengeful. Have you seen Jeepers Creepers 2?
No, I haven't seen the second one. I only saw the first one. But
okay, you guys have got to add that to the list because it is definitely worth a watch.
You know how they have all the movie boxes, like when you go to the place to rent movies, and they have them all on the wall, and you see the little camera scanning across, and then it goes in. It picks one and goes in there. I was trying to look at all the boxes again and write down the names of movies that I didn't see yet because I was going to go research and look at those up and see if I wanted to see them or not. But it went faster too. That was another thing. It didn't scan over like it did in the other documentary that we watched. So that was a little bit sad because I kept saying, "Shit, I can't rewind this over and over again." But I mean, I thought it was so much. It seemed like there was more information packed into a shorter amount of time than there was the movies that they were talking about when we watched In Search of Tomorrow. So there must be like 3 times more horror movies than there is sci-fi. Is there?
Probably.
Oh,
it seemed like there was more.
There are let's see here. What was the ratio? A friend of mine, I don't know if it's true or not, but a friend of mine said there were 100, like not just like in America, like if you go look across the world, there were hundreds, close to 1,000 sci-fi movies made in the 80s. There were literally over 2,000 horror movies made in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I could see that because there was a lot of.
I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes sense.
So I know if that movie, that Willy's Wonderland or whatever, can get made, they'll make anything to a movie.
Do I hear Janet wants to watch that?
I do not. I watched all I need to watch. It wasn't even 15 minutes, and I was like, "This is terrible."
James would argue at that point with you.
He thinks that movie's high art.
He thinks it's the best movie. Best Nicolas Cage movie ever is what he said. Yep.
Well, I don't ever want to go to the movies with this person. They have bad taste. I want to go to a movie that makes me, either really scared or really happy and make me laugh. I went and saw Dungeons and Dragons, and then you guys probably didn't like it, but I went and saw that movie, and I was clapping at the end. It was so fun, and some of the tests they did, or the spells that the one guy did, the little cleric or whatever, I was like, I seen that in my book. I'm gonna have to get that one with the coin, that you could bring people back to life and ask them 3 questions. I just thought it was so awesome to see everything coming to life that I in my imagination on weekends. You know what I mean? I just loved it. I thought it was great. The fat dragon was adorable. It had a little bit of comedy in it, but it was fun. It was a fun movie, and I dragged Sandy, and she thought it was fun. She laughed a lot. We had a great time, and I don't know how much money it made, but it was, to me, it was worth. The movie was great, and just because, and I do play, but to me, I thought it was good. A lot of people said it was terrible, that, gamer friends of mine, but I
Here's
loved
the
it.
thing.
I thought it was awesome.
I'm not saying I haven't seen it, but I'm not saying that is a bad movie. It's probably good for the genre they were aiming for. But I will have to say, I'm pretty sure your gamer friends, if you ask them in this type of way, they'd agree with me. I don't want to see Guardians of the Dungeon. I want to see D&D being actually portrayed. Like, even though they are not good movies, the original D&D movies were at least serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see a D&D movie, not a Guardians of the Dungeon movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's probably good for its genre. Like, if I were to show it to my parents, they'd probably enjoy it from everything you've said.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not for me because
I loved it. Well, to me, the whole time I watched it, I was like, I guarantee if young people that have never played Pathfinder or any of these other games, these role-playing games, got to watch this, it would make them want to try to play. Just like me when I watched Gamers Darkness Rising, I just loved the way that they went in the game and then back to the board. You know what I mean? To reality, and then back to the game, and then back to reality. I love that, because you can only understand that if you've tried to play or you've gotten to play before what was going on in the movie. And to me, I just loved it, because it just seemed like a bunch of people that would sit around and play a game, and I loved it. I thought it was really good too. So it just, I don't know, I guess it's a childlike quality that I have. I can see some things in a way where it's not stained by being an adult. You know what I mean? Take all the fun out of it. I try to put fun into everything, and I enjoy movies that are fun, even if they're scary. It's still fun. So I can help it. That's what I try to do that with all the movies that I watch. I try to look at it that way too. So I can look past some things that other people don't seem to be able to get past. Banana Splits, I haven't seen that either.
Okay, Banana Splits is actually like a movie with a script, and it's not bad. It's better than Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland is literally a bunch of money being given to Nicolas Cage to help pay off the government on his back taxes. And they said, we want to do a movie with you because that's what your contract says you need to do, is another movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll do another movie, but I want to wear sunglasses and I don't want to have a script. I don't want to say anything. I just want to beat things up. Okay, we'll do that, Mr. Cage. And that's the entire movie.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Movie. It's not terrible. It's schlock. There's some enjoyable schlock out there, Janet. I need to see.
I've seen that. Hey, that movie that you got me to watch with the meat train or whatever. There was it was some really, really good scenes in, like the one with the girl fighting in the train. Wasn't that in that?
Mm-hmm.
It was a freaking kick-ass scene. The whole thing was just badass, and a lot of other things that were in it. But it was as it got to the end, it was almost like they ran out of money, or so, I don't know what the reason is, or
I think they ran out of script. I think they ran out of script because they could go the direction of the book, and the book was really good. The little novella that was written, but they don't go into explaining what all is going on there, and that's where I think the movie fell apart. If they would have kept going and showcasing the things that were in the novella, and maybe make a case for a sequel, because there's plenty of meat there. Midnight Meat Train,
like the movie The Cabin in the Woods.
Great movie.
I felt the same way about it. I felt like the ending was like I don't know, they ruined it. The ending just wasn't very good compared to the rest of the movie. I just thought it wasn't very good. I just didn't enjoy it.
Wait, this is The Cabin in the Woods, is the movie.
The one with Sigourney Weaver, right?
Yeah, she's the director.
With the giant guardians or kings or giant.
Yeah, there's something underground there.
Yeah.
and it wants to sacrifice. It wants 5 of them or 4. If they can subsist with the parameters, you'll have 1 survivor, but she needs to leave alone, and then she can leave. And that's because she's the final girl. She's a virgin. And if she's not a virgin, then she needs to be dead. The whore dies, the jokester dies, the jock dies, and the thinker dies. But the movie I thought was fantastic, and I don't understand how you say like they ran out of money, because at the very end of the film, like you see all the cages open, and all the monsters get loose and go to hell on all the security forces trying to tamp it down and bring order to the facility again.
Yeah. I just thought it was a rushed ending. That they didn't give you enough detail what was actually going on and why they were doing that. I don't like that. I like leaving a little bit to the imagination, but when it's like you do all this stuff and then all of a sudden you find out there's this giant laboratory and shit down there, and then they rush it to the end, and then you see the fights and everything, but then you don't know enough about why they did it.
I don't think they rushed it at all. I thought it was a perfectly paced movie, and I find it kind of weird that you're disagreeing with that, because the inferences from the 2 scientists that were brought at the start, and like one guy was running in the betting pool, and the other guy was like, I really wanted the creature from the Black Lagoon, and he's like, no, you don't want that. It's really messy. It smells. It's nasty. Then at the very end, when everything breaks open, the guy that was kind of pudgy and one of the big black creature from the lagoon, like he gets his wish. He gets to get killed by the creature from the Black Lagoon, and he's like, oh God, and like he smells it as it's crawling towards him and just gnaws his face off. And it's
I'm not saying there wasn't. I thought there was a buttload of good stuff in it. I just wish I think the movie would have been better if they gave you more when it came to that side of it. Just like the Men in Black. Once Will Smith gets to go in the elevator, he finds out the truth about what's going on in the government with the Men in Black, and he sees all the aliens, and it's like a giant transporting station or whatever. You get more detail about what's going on before they go back out on the street again. Does that make any sense? I just feel like they didn't give you enough to understand how long this has been going on and why.
Do you really want to know the extent on like the cabin and the control room and how long all of that's been going on? Do you really want to know the extent?
Well, how did it all start? That would have been an important thing. How did they find out about it? You see what I mean?
You really want to know that? I mean, that makes me happy, because you're expressing an interest to cosmic.
No, I'm saying that's why I was disappointed with the movie. I felt like they left out too much stuff that I needed to have to be happy for the ending and be excited about the way it ended out.
I don't know. I thought the movie was complete, but I mean, if you want to say we need 10 or 15 more minutes of explanation.
Yeah, I think about 15 more minutes of giving us more detail about the origins of everything, filling in the gaps. I would have been happier with the way things worked out in the movie. I thought the acting and everything was great. The scenes, it was scary. It had a lot of the things that I look for in a movie, except that I felt like I left going. A lot of gaps were in it, just like I said with the space herpes and all the different things that happened in that one movie. I felt like there was gaps in it, and I said that to me that was editing. I feel like they probably did film it. It's just that the editor cut out a lot of stuff that we should have left in it. That's all. That's why I think editing is important, and I think that if you if everybody's on board, the movie's going to be good. Because everybody's wanting it to be successful. Just like in a TV series. If everybody is working together to all win an award at the end, like you can get Emmys for your 11 Emmys nominations, that's kick-ass. Why is that kick-ass? I mean, everything about the show is on spot. Everybody knows what they're expected to do. They all want the same goal, which is a successful show. And the actors will want that because that means the next season they're going to make more money. See, so they're going to push to be the best actors that they can, and the director directing them to make them the best they can be. All those different things come together. Then you have a huge success, and you'll have a long running series, or you'll have a movie that makes lots of money because people want to go see it more than once, and they want to buy it. So, and that does happen. It just seems like it's getting very scarce for that type of stuff anymore.
Okay.
Like The Expanse. How often does a TV series like The Expanse come along? In the last
first 3
20
seasons
years.
of that show were really good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the 4th, 5th, and 6th seasons of it. It just did not stick.
It's same thing with True Blood and a bunch of others. Why? Just like the Lord of the Rings. It was good because he took it and he filmed all 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the difference. That what was the name of the Game of Thrones? That's what it was. Game of Thrones, good, and then it started getting worse and worse. Okay, and the reason is because over the time, the people producing and directing and stuff start saying, I'm ready to move on to something else. So, and then the actors want more and more money. So then they substitute another actor in that position because they go, well, we don't want to pay that much money. So, things like that. They get too much stuff like that. It changes the story.
Sometimes shows also fail for their, not just that, but the way they do it. Like, excellent example, I love a show called Warehouse 13. Do you know that show?
Mm-mm.
Tell her about
it. It is a show. Yeah, you really should watch it. It is a show about collecting artifacts that are dangerous. Literally, like, people can be killed by them, controlled by them, or worse.
Mm-hmm.
And the show itself always had an arcing villain each season. Sometimes the same villain, but it really ended up killing the show because by, I think, season 5, season 6, they introduced a villain that knew more about all the artifacts than all the main characters combined, and he was immortal. Then he went back in time and took over actually 3 warehouses, because this is Warehouse 13. This is the 13th warehouse. So he has access to artifacts they don't even know about. They literally put him in a position where the main characters could not win, and it killed the show.
Okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The direction of where the story was supposed to go in the beginning changed because somebody made another choice to change.
And Warehouse 13 would have really benefited from a more X-Files style show.
Mm-hmm.
X-Files had an overarching plot, but you only got tidbits of it. 1 or 2 episodes per season would actually have the main arcing plot. Everything else was basically Monster of the Week. And Warehouse 13 would have benefited from that style of story.
Mm-hmm. I love the X-Files. And that was on quite a while, wasn't it?
Oh, it actually returned too. I don't know if it's any good, but it did.
I haven't watched anything new lately. What I'm seeing is that Warehouse 13 is a interesting show. Had a lot of great ideas in it, but it got canceled because of its own device. I'm almost done with season 4 of the Babylon 5, and I'm probably going to swap over to the Rookie on Sundays. Watch all the Rookies 6 or 7 seasons.
Why is that? Is how many episodes? How many seasons of Babylon 5 are there?
5.
Oh, you're not ready to watch the last season?
No. Once season 5's over, I'm going to go through it. But like today, we had extra time, so I just kept watching 4 episodes, and I enjoyed it. I actually enjoy that show. I'm really happy. The season 3 is the pinnacle so far for me. Season 4's got some good points. There's some lackluster episodes, but it's okay. Yeah. It's still better than second season of The Next Generation. Like The Next Generation season 1, there's like some really bad episodes there. There's some good ones like Conspiracy. But season 2 has some really good episodes and some really bad episodes. And I feel Babylon 5 season 4 is still better than that.
Well, I wanted to add a movie. I sent you a message and said to add the 13th Warrior. Did you put that in there?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's definitely one that needs. If I will try to remember, because I will show up for that.
And I liked it. The reason I thought about it is because I got in a discussion with someone again about speaking in tongues and why you would speak in tongues. And they were talking about, I won't go into too much detail with it, but they were talking about people falling on the ground in church, okay, and speaking gibberish. And I'm like, well, to me, I don't believe that's real speaking in tongues. And that's why we got the argument over it. And I said, watch the movie 13th Warrior. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, he's stuck. He doesn't understand these people. They speak different languages. It's totally different culture and everything. And he's sitting at a fire with these people, and he's prays a lot. He's very religious, and all of a sudden he can understand everything they say. And I go, that's the true meaning of speaking in tongues. God gives you a gift to understand and be able to communicate with these people because you need to do something. There's something that needs to be done. Okay. And that is, to me, what speaking in tongues means. And that scene in the movie to me is real important because that's what it is. That's what happens. He gets the gift of speaking in tongues because now he can understand what they're saying. And I think Omar Sharif is in it at the very beginning too.
I think so.
So it's a very well made movie. I love that. You know how I love that type of stuff with the clothing and all that stuff and the monsters and everything. It's just really, really well made and very good acting. I think throughout the whole thing. So I loved it, and I think it's a good movie. But I like the story behind it, the religious part of it. To me, I really enjoyed it. That was good. But to me, that is one of the only times I've seen it actually performed in a scene without telling you what they're doing. If you're watching it and understanding the characters, you see that's a gift of speaking in tongues.
Well, if you, I know you said you didn't want to go to the movies with DM James, but DM James, and I have to agree, says that the 13th Warrior is the best D&D movie ever made. And it's not.
I love
it. I'm going to go with a recommendation that Diversity and Dragons gave instead, because he recommended it, and I went and I watched it, and I actually got to agree with Dungeons and Diversity. He recommended Conan the Destroyer, which I actually don't like it that much, but it is a very good Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
If you like that sort of thing. I love
Conan. I even liked Red Sonja. Thought it was wonderful movies. So
Bikini Armor. I've never actually seen Red Sonja, but I keep hearing that.
It's good.
It's not bad. If you can handle 80s fantasy, you're good. If you can't handle 80s fantasy, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, because we haven't. There's a bunch of movies like
Crawl,
The Last Unicorn.
Crawl.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, Crawl. Then I'd like to do what was the other one I was thinking about? Give me a second. I try to, as soon as I remember, I try to go to Discord and send it to you in a message because I always forget. I'm like, it pops in my head for some reason, a conversation, or I heard music or something and it reminds me of it. So, but those are two good movies. Labyrinth is another one. Your game reminded me of that. Remember yesterday we said the Bog of Stench?
Yeah.
So, just little things like that, just doing stuff reminds me of something. So,
well, Well, The Last Unicorn has inspired a couple things I've done in games, like the skeleton that wanted an empty wine bottle because since he was already dead, an empty wine bottle is a dead wine, so he could drink it.
Yeah.
He said it was his memory. He remembered what wine was like, but I always took it as because the wine bottle is empty, meaning it's dead, he can drink it, which is a concept I used in a couple of games to convince players to not just murder hobo everything. Like, I don't know if it's in Bruce's game, but occasionally I like to add ways you can become like a lich without being evil. Because there are some good people who
the
will
Dark
want to live
Crystal.
forever.
That's another one with
The
old
Dark Crystal.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Well, Dark Crystal is an excellent example of using an artifact to live forever. Because the Skeksis and the Mystics were originally obviously one race. We know that. But when they became two races, they were actually mortal
because the crystal was damaged.
But when they were one race, they were actually immortal. When they became two races, they became mortal. But the crystal kept the Skeksis alive, and in turn kept the Mystics alive. So that is an excellent example of an artifact being used.
I know, and when one would die, the other half of it would die. So you'd think that they would want to repair it, but they didn't. They were too greedy.
No, because they didn't want it repaired because they knew if they repaired it, they would go back to what they were. The Skeksis liked being not part of what they were. The concept that I get from it is that they actually remembered being whole. And the Skeksis hated it. That's what
I know. I that's a good movie, though. I think it's very
we're
well
not
done.
Save that for when we actually watch the movie.
There's just so many good movies that I want to watch. It's like I told Bruce, I go, we'll be 90 years old doing movie reviews because we're never going to run out. There's so many.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just watching that documentary, there was like 20 something movies that was brought up here and there throughout it that I have never seen before. So I thought it was, I just was shocked how many movies I hadn't seen. Scary ones. You'd think that
I would not be surprised at all. I know enough about the movie industry to say that, like you said, you will die before seeing all the movies you want to see. It's as simple as that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely believe that.
Okay, so I think I have it squared away on Janet's channel to where I can access things.
Yeah, Conan the Destroyer. We haven't done any Conan movies yet. And we haven't done Beastmaster yet. And I know you've brought that up quite a few times because you like that movie.
I don't, but
you like it?
I like the Beastmaster 1. The Beastmaster.
That's what I'm talking about. The first movie.
2, it's 2 that drags down Beastmaster 1.
We don't have to watch that one. I haven't seen the second one, so I only know that one, which was great.
I thought that was only a TV show. I didn't know there was anything more.
So
I didn't see Mark Singer again until he was in V in that series.
See, I didn't discover Beastmaster until years afterwards because a friend of mine introduced me to all the D&D movies I'd missed because I was a young kid in the 80s. I'm watching whatever Dad lets me watch, like Star Trek Wrath of Khan or, Star Trek 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that.
I don't really have much else to say about the movie because it was
the documentary you watched.
Yeah, the documentary. I pretty much shared everything I think from my notes. of what I thought was really good about it, and I thought it was really good about some of the movies that they gave. They gave plenty of information. I mean, almost more than I could get to stay in my head while I were talking about it. It was so quick that they went through it. It seemed faster paced. This one,
Yeah.
but I thought it was really, really good. But I liked it better when they did like if they picked the movie The Thing and they talked about it, and then they went on to the next movie like that, and brought in all the aspects: movie, music, theme, props, makeup, special effects, practical effects, all that in one thing, and then move on to the next movie. I enjoyed that better because when they jumped back, I was trying to remember the stuff that they'd said from it earlier, and I was like, I couldn't, I was like struggling to try to keep up with what they were saying to go back to what they were saying earlier about it. So I don't know. I just didn't like it as much as I liked the very first one we watched.
Dirty Yogurt brings up a good point. Beastmaster 1 and 3, Part 2 does not exist. Neither does the Highlander Part 2, The Quickening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
No,
I'm
I like the original Highlander. That's it. Oh, and the other one, damn it. The one where they're gonna fight to save the world with the same guy that was in Highlander, but now he's like a ninja master or whatever. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
Mortal Kombat!
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. We haven't done that one. That was a great movie.
No,
I wouldn't go that far.
Huh? You
the
didn't
second
like
one is
it?
okay.
Oh, I loved it. I love that
I
movie.
love
I thought it was
Mortal
so
Kombat.
good. Me too. I thought it was great. And then the hit song that went along with it, it was on. Everybody was playing it.
The soundtrack for 1995's Mortal Kombat was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I destroyed that tape in my Fiero, and yes, I had a Fiero. I absolutely love that soundtrack, but I do not watch Part 2 of Mortal Kombat, and I haven't watched anything Mortal Kombat since the first movie.
That's what I haven't either. That's what I'm talking about. The one movie. I didn't even know there was another one.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and then they put out another Mortal Kombat movie a few years ago, and it's about out at the same time.
I didn't want to see it.
About the same time that Snake Eyes came out in the theaters, and I was gambling with Vigilante Williamson. I said, I think this movie is going to probably hit this amount. If it does more, I'll be very surprised. But it's not a film that I want to watch. Here's the reasons why. Not that I am hateful to anything G.I. Joe. I love G.I. Joe, but it just wasn't made with the same theories that they had back in the 80s creation for the comics, which led to the Sunbelt Marvel TV show, which is a fucking amazing product.
I still like the I liked the newer live action G.I. Joe, the first one. The second one isn't, as far as I'm concerned, is a case if it doesn't exist. They we have this great character, we have this great storyline from him. He is the main character for the comics and the show, or the original cartoon, and then we just kill him and all the G.I. Joes off in the second movie, right at the start.
But in the comic books, Duke died. And in the cartoon, he got really injured.
I thought he was the main character during the whole thing. I didn't realize he actually died. I never actually read the comics. I've heard this from people. I have heard through people about the comic books. I never read them.
I'm trying to recall things that happened back in the 1980s. I'm not saying I'm a pothead, but I smoked a lot of pot between there and now. And since then, I've also done some other things, and I thought Duke died.
Hey, that could very well be the case.
Yeah, and Nerdy Yogurt, sometimes there's an event in a franchise that you just ignore everything from a certain point on, and that's what I've done with everything. Star Trek, Star Wars,
Mhm.
Mostly anything that's tied to Hasbro, I've decided to ignore it.
Well, just like they said, I started getting, I don't know what word you would use. I started getting like, again, that kind of feeling when they was doing the Jason and the Freddy Krueger stuff, and it was like 7, 8, 9, going on and on. I didn't need to hear about all of it. All they had to do was just tell us about the hit ones that everybody went to see, and then update and say, well, in the second one this is what happened, in the third one this what happened. They didn't have to specifically go to that movie. You see what I mean? Does that make sense, what I'm talking about?
Sure, but there are people out there that they're going to tell you the finer points of Jason or Friday the 13th Part 6, which probably is not a good movie. 4 and 6 I've heard are really actually the best of the series,
Mhm.
but 7 I watched with my father while mom slept on a hotel bed. We were up in Niagara Falls,
Yeah.
and mom decided
There's
that
a
this was not her thing. Dad and I watched it. Dad passed out at the first act, and I continued to watch it. Dad wakes up in time to see Jason take somebody in a sleeping bag and bash them into a tree. And looked over at his 14-year-old kid watching the movie, enraptured by it, watching
Yeah.
violence at that caliber. And I'm like, but don't you ever get angry at people who want to do that? And he's like, you need to go wrestle some more and figure out how good you are. And I wasn't that good in wrestling. You know this. Everybody knows this. But I I'm watching this movie, and then part 8 comes out. He goes to Manhattan, and I didn't get see that. I only seen 7 because I watched it with my father at a fucking hotel room in Niagara Falls, and it was really not a good movie. And then the movie I own, I think I still have Jason X, which is
Mhm.
one where they find Jason encased in ice with his machete in space. And so they bring him on a research vessel with a bunch of young teens at a research science lab, blah, blah, blah. It's Regulus One. Okay,
Mhm.
it's Regulus One. But
It's
Regulus
okay,
One with
guys.
a
He
high.
just wanted his machete back.
Exactly. That's like the only part of the movie that's worth a fuck, because then there's another part where you watch it and you're like, was this written by AI? And it's back in like 1999. It's really bad.
Uh,
It's when the android robot girl comes out. She's like, I will defend you. And you're like, oh,
Well,
God.
remember when what a couple of them said in the documentary? They said that it was, I think they were both women. They said that they didn't understand what the big deal was of why they had to have all the naked girls, the naked ass and naked boobs, whatever, and over and over again. And she said, "Yeah, I realized they wanted to get young men, teenage boys." To come see this, but I thought from the interview with the guys, they all said I just loved it when they ripped his guts out and they were all munching on the guts and the arms and all that stuff and the blood squirting out. I didn't hear a single guy that was being interviewed. Yeah, besides, now you say it a lot, but the guys in the documentary that were being interviewed, I didn't hear any of them say, "Oh, I just wanted to go and see tits." I didn't hear any of that. So they
That
don't
was
have
just
to
kind
have
of
it.
the thing that you expected in a Jason or a Jason movie, especially. You expected to see nudity.
Yeah,
Not really
why?
so much in the Robert Englund
oh, well,
Nightmare on Elm
there's a
Street
reason for
films.
that. Sorry.
Yeah, because if you have sex,
The,
you're gonna die.
well, no, what it is Jason hates smoking pot, premarital sex, and
That's what his
there's
mother
something
had.
else too.
But I didn't see
Pretty
him
much
go through
everything
any
teenagers
movie.
do.
I know, but I didn't see him go through any movie and grab people's hands to see if they had a wedding ring on. What before he killed
Oh
them in
no,
their
that is true.
beds?
That is true. Jason breaks his own rules right off the bat because he'll kill
Yeah,
anybody.
so I just thought it was stupid. Some of that was just dumb, and the fact that they do it in so many of them, to me, as soon as you start seeing lots of TNA, then I know the movie isn't going to be very good because it's not going to be the quality you need. There was a movie we watched. What was it? I'm trying to remember which one it was. Not very long ago, and I said that in the review. I said it was nice to see. You see them. Oh, it was the Witches of Eastwick. You see, he walks in. He's all proud of him. He opens the doors, the double doors. Okay, and he sees the 3 gorgeous women all over his bed. You know, beautiful brunette that's moving around or whatever. And then you got Susan Sarandon just leaning back in her little nightie and being all sexy. And then you had Michelle Pfeiffer on the other corner. So he's walking in, and he look at the devilish look on his face that he's going to go in there and he's going to tear him up. You know what I mean? We know what's going to happen, but then all of a sudden the camera goes fades to black. You didn't have to see all the nudity and them groping and jumping around, because you use your imagination. You know they're all going to be going to town, right? So sometimes less is better. To me, I just thought the movie was really, really good and was well done, and it was tasteful, except for the vomiting scenes and so forth. I started gagging and getting sick to my stomach.
I really hope that I actually really hope that next week's video or movie that we watched doesn't ruin you, but it's the Emerald Forest with.
I've never seen it.
Okay, there's a lot of tea in that movie.
Mm-hmm. See, it doesn't bother me if you need it in there to make a point.
Because where they're going into the rainforest that's not been fucked with by humanity, that's got civilization. They're going into a tribal land, and all the girls basically have nothing on. But when you'll see the movie, when civilization gets in contact with them, not in a good way, you see how things devolve. And it's such a good movie. It's Powers Booth at his best, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched Powers Booth for many years, and now he's sadly gone. But I loved him in Rapid Fire. I've watched him in Tombstone. He was in Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
The man is great.
Yeah.
And we're going to be watching a fantastic movie from 1985 called The Emerald Forest next week. If you guys want to jump in and view with us, be more than happy to share that.
Remember the scene in the movie with damn it, God, why do I keep forgetting the names? Can't remember what his name is now. He had 3 movies, and he played Vin Diesel. It was a Vin Diesel movie where he's a prisoner and they're taking him back for the bounty, right? That movie, the first one. Yeah, the very first movie. Yeah. Okay, and the scene where he's looking through the crack in the wall, and she's just getting out of the shower and getting dressed, the blonde badass woman, right? And you get to see TNA and stuff. That's in there because nobody's in there with her. He's spying on her before he steals something from her. I don't remember what he stole, but he stole her knife or a gun or something. I don't remember. But that was in the movie because of where she was and what she was doing at the time. She wasn't paying attention because she was busy doing something else, and he took the stuff. So that was a needed scene. I'm not against nudity. I mean, if it's a porn, you're definitely going to see a lot of it. But just to have naked girls walking around for no reason, just because you think, oh, all the teenagers will buy tickets because how are they going to know there's naked girls walking around? You can't have that in the trailer. So I don't know. I just thought that whole concept of what they were saying was kind of stupid, because if it has nothing to do with the story, all it does is add fluff to a story where there should be something you need. You should be getting something out of it besides TNA. And I love naked guys. I mean, nice asses or whatever too, but there's no reason to see a guy's naked ass or anything if there's no reason for it. If like the scene where they show
the story.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it furthers the story, it's supposed to be in there. But like when you join a room, you go into a scene and you see them laying in bed, and they're hugging and kissing, and then it's morning and it's time to get up and they're talking a little bit, and then you see her get up and you maybe see her half boob or whatever in her ass, and she goes in the bathroom. That's normal too, because it goes with the scene. But they add scenes, it looked like, in some of these horror movies that we saw for no reason. They just have naked girls walking around. Just doesn't make any sense. That to me it's just filler because they didn't have a very good script. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the movie we're watching next week.
Yep.
Okay. Is Bear going to join us next week?
I
Or
don't
is it
know.
the week after?
I don't know. We will see how Bear feels. We're in the process of going through a branding change,
Mhm.
and we will be enjoying the branding change. We'll be going into a situation where it will no longer be called a girl, a guy in a movie. It will be something else. And I was thinking maybe hot take cinema would be a fine thing to put on a mug for your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could always go a guy, a girl, and a bear.
That is hilarious.
that's a fucking meme and a half.
Yeah, it sounds good. That's adorable. You got Bruce to laugh out loud. That's good. See, he's right on though too. He's so smart. But well, I've said everything. I thought it was good. I'd give it like a 7. That's my rating.
Crafting, I hope you get a chance to see it. If you guys have seen it in chat, go ahead and let us know what you think.
Someone did ask. I think it was Nerdy Org that said, "Are we gonna do the other ones, the other 2 episodes?"
I think we will. It'll be a bit, but we'll be going through this because I've got a direct link to David Weiner's fucking filmography.
But
So
baby girl said she didn't like scary movies, and I wrote back to her and said that if you're interested in it, knowing and understanding or hearing more about intricate behind the scenes about makeup, special effects, scene design, all that, set design, things like that, it's worth watching this movie just for that, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
because they give so much
I've
good
seen enough
information.
about makeup. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I've seen enough about how makeup's
Yeah.
done that I have respect for anybody who can sit there for 5 hours or more.
Yeah, a lot of these people, some of these costumes, like the one they were talking about at the very end, about the guy wearing the suit from the Dark Lagoon guy.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work that guy had to wear just so he could crawl out of a sewer and get shot and die in the street. So I just thought it was, it's just amazing. But that's what I'm saying. He really wanted to play that character, and that's what made the character even better. Is because he had a zest for it. He was
Yeah.
he I don't know. I can't explain it. It makes a big difference whether you're like, whatever, that attitude, or you got, okay, let's go kick some ass. It makes a big difference when
Oh, yeah,
you're
it's like
hyped up and
a,
want to play that part.
oh yeah, it's like there's a he works with a mostly with a special effects called in somewhere in Europe called Weta Workshop. He is a literally a veteran monster. He has been in I think over 500 movies, and most of them are just quick kill scenes. But he plays the monster so well. Like what I'm referring to is like Adam Savage wanted to make a small video about a knight getting his arm off and getting his arm cut off, and the joke being, is this too much blood? Because he just gushes more blood than humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
But even though it was a kind of a joke thing, they took it seriously, and so did the monster guy. He played that monster as if he was in a serious movie, and the monster in that little video just looks and acts amazing because he loves being the monster.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's really good because you can tell, and that's why I really do believe a lot of movies that most people probably wouldn't think would be a hit ends up becoming a hit because the people watching it enjoy seeing the people enjoy themselves while they're doing it. Because it's I don't know, I can't explain it. I can't. There's no word for it that I can put on it, but it's it comes across on screen when everybody in the working parts, even behind the scenes, all want something great to come out of it. And just like what we saw in that movie that was in the world record books as being the biggest box office bomb, and it was a great, well-made movie. I mean, I think I gave it an 8.5. I thought it was a pretty good score, considering it was a movie that I never would have ever watched if it hadn't been for Bruce telling me, "Hey, we're gonna watch this movie," because of
Which movie was that?
the Cutthroat Island.
Ah,
Okay, it was a good
Yeah,
movie.
that one night Bruce was going, yeah, I've been thinking about adding Cutthroat Island to this little segment, and I literally super chatted. Cutthroat Island is a must.
But I had
Bruce
never
like,
seen it.
okay.
So it was interesting and good. It was very well done considering the struggles they had because they didn't have money, because other people that had nothing to do with the movie that were their name was on it, but they were spending money, on whatever hookers,
they
drugs.
ruined Carol Co-Productions.
Yeah, they ruined that whole production company because they were frivolous with the money. But the thing is, the actors, end up doing way above and beyond because they loved this part and they wanted to see it successful. And because they did that, it was a fun movie to watch. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was well made and it was exciting, and it was romantic. It had a touch of everything in it, and it was a good movie, but I would never have known if I hadn't seen it. But why would you want to buy a movie that you've been told was the biggest box office bomb? You see what I mean? So it has a tag on it that shouldn't be on there because it's good.
Yeah, I only know the movie because my parents, when I was younger, I tend to do the same thing. Look at a movie, look at the cover. Oh, that looks interesting. Bye. We don't even read the back. We just, that cover looks interesting. Cutthroat Island. It's about pirates. We love pirates. Yank. And that's how we got introduced to Cutthroat Island. It was just simply our love for that type of movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It depends on. See, I like lots of different genres. Now, if there is a romantic comedy over here and then there's a horror movie, I'm probably going to go see the horror movie because that's just what I would pick. Or a fantasy movie, So, 75%. That's good. That's right around where I would pick. But if it hadn't been for some of the commentary from some of the people, I probably would have rated it higher. Yeah. And the fact that they broke it up the way they did instead of doing it all in one little thing for each of the movies, I would have loved that a lot better too. But I do like the whole thing. I said this about the first one. I like how they cut it in from year, like that, and break it down that way. Now, the other thing I wish they would have added was the money. How much money they talked about this money, how much it cost to make the movie, but they didn't say whether they were made money at the box office. They did a couple mentions of different things like that, but a little bit more detail on that part of it would have been the icing on the cake, I think, for that movie, documentary.
Well, I think this show was fantastic. We went over the things that I wanted to. Mm-hmm. My rating for this documentary is a 75%, a little bit higher. I didn't really have the problems that Janet did with how they would cut and intersperse like additional discussion on a movie for like things like set design, mm-hmm. makeup effects, music. I'm okay with that. Hearing David Keith do the dun dun Ennio Morricone theme music for the thing, that was fucking great.
I love really that part.
And I really just get a kick out of hearing various anecdotes about a lot of the movies I really like. Now, granted, there's a bunch of movies in there that are stinkers that I won't watch, but I'm that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. And there's gonna be films that I will disagree with Janet and everybody else on that I think are required viewing for science fiction films. In the near future, I'm probably gonna not go to any sci-fi films for a little bit. I really love sci-fi. Sci-fi and horror are my jam because those are makeup extravaganzas. You get fucking mm-hmm. miniatures. You get good stuff, and you have a crafted professional that doesn't have mouse clicker problem. Because no offense, the CGI shit just it boils my fucking head, and I'm sorry.
That's okay.
With that being said, next week we're going to watch a really banger of a movie called The Emerald Forest. I'm looking forward to this. This is one of the films that I remember renting from Stars and Stripes Video and Captain Video, those two locations in Decatur, probably about 6 or 7 times. I was just really impressed with it. It's a 2-hour movie. It's not 90 minutes. It's about 2 hours, and it really goes into various aspects of what living in Brazil is like in the city versus living in the untamed lands. And I really hope that people will enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hearing Janet's discussion about it because I think it's a really good movie. If you're curious about it, you don't want to wait till next Sunday. Just look it up on YouTube. Somebody uploaded it in its entirety. Please don't report them because there's titties everywhere. This is a movie that's over 30 years old with a cast that partially is gone. The last thing you could do to be a cuck is to say, "Oh my God, I don't like boobies." If that's kind of too rough for you, stay away. Go watch another crappy Toy Story 7 movie or something. I don't give a shit.
Well, I want to add one more thing I totally forgot about. In this documentary, the one gentleman that plays Jason,
Kane Hodder.
yeah, he does give us a lot of information. I really loved him. He was my favorite person to give us information about what he did in the movie, what his favorite shots were, his favorite kills, things like that. It was really, really cool. And but him talking about how he burned really bad. He got really bad burned making one of the movies in a scene, and how long it took him to heal from that. But he was just really, really good. I like him enough to where now I'm going to try to see if I can see him in a con, that I would definitely pick up a ticket to go see him, meet him in person, get his autograph and stuff. But also if he had he was in one of the back rooms, where you can get the VIP thing and listen to him talk about what he did in the movie, and you can ask him questions, stuff where it's a smaller group of people. I would do that too because he seems very interesting, and I loved Jason movies. So not all of them, but
I think four. I think 4 is pretty good. I've seen that one because that's the one where you've got Corey Feldman is in it, I believe.
Yeah, he's the little boy that shaves his head.
In that film.
Yeah, because I remember when I saw that, I cried because the little boy had cuts on his head from using the knife to cut his hair off, and I felt bad for him. And just like I said, I cried when I saw Pet Cemetery when the little boy gets run over by the semi. To have that happen in front of you, I can't even imagine what that would be like. That would mess you up forever.
I didn't mean to laugh when that happened. When the girl, the plastic Barbie girl, starts talking about how she cried. And I didn't mean to laugh uncontrollably. Thankfully, I had my.
I thought you were laughing at her, not because
I laugh at her every time I see her. Because
I just thought holy crap, she needs to stop doing that stuff to her face. She's gonna look like that cat woman because she's putting so many implants into her cheeks. It just doesn't. I just don't think it looks good, personally.
Yeah.
Everything else about her looked really good. I mean, she probably gets lots of views. That's all I can say. She needs to stop getting plastic surgery on her face.
See, to me, she's like the darker version of the girl Janice from the Muppets. She's in that band Electric Mayhem.
Oh yeah, the big lips.
Yeah,
yeah. But her lips didn't look too big. It was her.
Reminded me exactly of Janice, not Janet, guys. and I mean, I'd stare at.
Yeah, there she
Darcy,
is with giant lips.
Darcy, the male girl, milkmaid.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I saw when I saw her. Fake fucking lips, fake fucking everything on that shit's plastic. So.
She looked familiar though. I don't know. Maybe I've seen her on YouTube or something. I don't know. But
she's with Billy Bob.
When I first saw her, I was like looking at her. I was like, she has a unique look to her. So I started paying more attention to her. Then I was like, holy shit. Her cheeks are not natural. She's got implants in her cheeks for sure. And she keeps doing it because what's sad is once a person goes and gets something done, they start small and get like the crow's feet gone or whatever it is, or get boob job or something like that, and then the next thing you know, they're going, I'm going to go get some Botox, and then I'm going to go get this, and I'm going to go get that next. And I've sat in many holding tents and listened to all these people talk about all the work they had done. And they said, well, I went and I got pictures taken for Playboy. And they said, if I get a boob job, that I'm hired. So I went and got boobs. It's like, I don't know. It's just sad that people think that they have to do all this stuff and keep up with that just to see. I won't dye my own hair. I'll just wear a wig. If I can wear a wig, fine. If it looks good for the part or whatever, that'd be good too. But I'm not gonna, unless they pay me $1 million, I wouldn't shave my head for them. When there's a cap you can wear that will sometimes look just as good, like the beautiful woman that was in Star Trek, that the first one. She was gorgeous, even bald. So I'm just saying, just sad that what some people will do to themselves just because they think someone else said it would look good. There's a video out, and I've seen her 4 or 5 times, and I think she has her own TikTok or Instagram or something, and she's really bizarre, almost like a cartoonish face. She's got huge cheeks and a chin that goes way down like that. I don't remember what her name is, but she's in tons of videos. And I'm like, whoever's taking the video of her and telling her that how beautiful she looks with that it's sad to tell someone they need to get more and more plastic surgery. They don't even look like a real person anymore. That breaks my heart to think about a person that has to do that. It just, instead of giving them hugs and telling them I love you just the way you are, they talk them into doing all this stuff to themselves. It's just heartbreaking. Sorry, I went off on the.
Well, there's also
some. Help it.
Yeah, well, there's also, when it comes to that, there's also something known as surgical addiction.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They get one thing and then something else. The next thing you know, they're getting one done every month until the doctors say, "Hey, we can't do any more to you." So
yeah,
your skin's so tight right now. If you who knows what can happen. It's just scary. And then you got all those women. Have you ever watched? There's a show about these 2 plastic surgeons, and it's called Botched or something like that. I watched it a few times, and man, it's just scary how many people will go and do this. Mostly women. There's a few guys, but they go and they get butt implants like in Mexico, and they come back and you can flip it backward. You can grab a hold of it and move it. It's like, it's sickening. I mean, some of the stuff these people have done to their bodies. Some of them have went and been injected with like car sealant, they put in a car.
Oh yeah.
It's all bumpy and lumpy, and it just looks pitiful. So I just say, hey, just eat right and start exercising. Try to take care of yourself that way. Good eating, a better diet and things like that. I mean, I got those clear liner teeth things because they were cheaper than going to have my teeth done at the dentist. And I followed the directions and did everything they said, and it straightened my teeth out a whole bunch. They're not perfect like they would have probably if I'd had them done at an oral surgeon, but there's lots of things you can do without having to do the extreme. And but starting out eating right and exercising is the best thing for you to do if you want to look like yourself, healthy you, instead of a plastic something that doesn't look anything like you. It's just sad.
Well, that goes for everything we've got for today.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to next week. Apparently, I don't watch a whole lot of this. I could watch everything else, not that. But I mean, I make fun of a lot. I make fun of a lot of shit. But is that Nicki Minaj?
I would like to see a picture of her before she had her cheeks done. That would be really nice.
That would just make me sadder. That'd be like watch. That'd be like, you ever look at like a franchise that you enjoy, like maybe a fast food place. Mm-hmm. I know you might not like all fast food, Janet, but you might look at a fast food place and be like, oh, it's McDonald's, and I used to go to McDonald's when they had the Arch Deluxe burger, but ever since they took that away from us, fuck McDonald's. I won't ever go to McDonald's again because you won't give me the burger I want. You keep giving us the annual release of the McRib, and nobody eats a McRib, which is why you keep taking off the menu every 3 months after you release it. You're like, okay, well, we're done with that. We've got rid of our Ethiopian pork stores. Let's get rid of something else now. Let's do a double crappy fish sandwich. You know, get all the Catholics to come back on Friday, and that's just kind of how I view it. I hate looking at things that, like Doritos. There's some really good old Doritos flavors that'll never be a thing again. And I just don't try to eat Doritos anymore. I just, if I'm going to eat crappy corn chips, there's the Frito, the plain.
I can
Frito.
eat a whole giant container of tater tots from Sonic or from French fries. I love it. I can eat that, but I just can't eat the bread and stuff that's on most of everything because it's got gluten in it. So
what you should do, see if they'll let you get a potato from Sonic and put your sandwich in the churned up portion of the potato.
Hey, that might be good.
Oh, and Janet.
Yeah.
Sorry. Have you ever heard of potato bread?
Yeah, and what I've been doing is I just ordered me a bread making machine where you put everything in it and it stirs it and stuff and cooks it for you, and you take it out, and I got a bread holder that holds my bread, and I can slice it thick or thin and holds it in place. So I've done that. I've made 2 loaves of bread, and it's pretty good. Still not taste as good as the bread I can get at the store, but I just ordered, got a banana nut bread and another one that I'm going to try until I can make some that's gluten-free and tell it's good. My daughter made some. She called it milk bread. Never seen it, but man, it was so pretty, and I couldn't eat it because it wasn't gluten-free. So it sucks.
Well, my suggestion is you look into my suggestion is you look into potato bread. It's a little bit denser than regular bread, but it has
but that's what it
as
seems
far as
like
I know, more body than gluten-free, from my understanding. Because every time I've ever had gluten-free, it tends to be a little bit.
I love potatoes.
Grainy?
I love baked potatoes. I love everything about potatoes. Yeah, I eat them. I eat them a lot. Lots of cheese and sour cream on it.
Oh yeah. Well, I definitely recommend potato bread. It is. I absolutely love potato bread.
Well, good. I'll have to.
Pancakes are good too.
I did find some mix. I didn't buy it, but I found some. You can get gluten-free pancakes, but I'm kind of, every time I get it, I'm kind of let down when I start to eat some of it because it's like, it just tastes like cardboard.
Yeah,
it sucks. But I'm trying to get used to it.
That's why I'm That's why I'm offering alternatives such as potatoes. Like I've actually had potato pancakes. They're good too.
Thank you. But yes, next week I am going to be doing my Thursday normal Team Shit Show 2.0. I'm going to be doing a Halloween special. So if anybody has a creepy or eerie story or scary story of something that's happened to them and you want to share it, send me a DM on either on Discord or on X or on Instagram or TikTok, because I'm on all of them, and saying, hey, I've got a cool story, and I'll try to set it up so you can join me on the show and talk about it. Because I'm going to look up some really creepy stuff that we can talk about. We'll see. Yeah. I think it'd be fun.
I would so join you because I got 2 stories I could tell, but Shadow already has me on a book club on Thursday.
A Halloween show over there? Okay, well, that's all right.
We are doing a Call of Cthulhu story. Well, we're reading it and reviewing the Call of Cthulhu story.
I really hope that in the future he seriously gives some consideration to doing more crafting stuff, because I love his crafting work. Him and his son are really good together for crafting, and it's a wholesome show. Go ahead.
Well, Shadow is still doing crafting challenges. Like this month, he did a October dice tower build. what I'm going to try to do is convince him for next time he does something like that to record it. Or do live streams where he shows you what he's doing. And to the point that I'm actually very tempted on buying him a camera like what you and I have, Bruce, where I can look down at the table.
The other good one is Nexigo. Nexigo makes a really good camera for like $40,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I've got over here. And I love it. I've bought 3 of them.
Yeah, send me a link and
there's a
I'll
reason.
see about sending one to Shadow so he's got a good camera for doing that.
He would appreciate it. I can almost guarantee. Let me get my Amazon up. And anyway, for those of you that want to know more, Crafting Gamer, you want to put your link in the private chat, and I can put your information out there to everybody.
Oh, a second, I got to get my. Since I haven't made videos in a while, I don't actually have my account. My new computer was supposed to be my savior for that, which turned out to just be another pain in the butt. Come on, load.
I'm actually kind of impressed because they dropped the price on this.
Guy wrote in my chat over on X, and he said, I can't believe he paint all the pieces one by one. I would have just spray painted it all and dropped it in a bucket full of paint. I think that's great. And
No,
I wrote back and said you loved it, that you loved doing it.
This is what I do, sir. I know other people have their own hobbies. I've got some friends on Discord. They like to stream from their mechanic shop, and you watch them fabricate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is my thing. I don't have a machine shop yet. Don't let me get a machine shop. I'll start building fucking D9 Caterpillar and get a reinforced concrete shell for it.
I showed you guys this the other day when we played yesterday. This was made on a 3D printer. It's a she's
got a die holder there.
Yeah, it's got dice, and the dice were made with 3D printer, and it all matches. The colors all match and stuff. It's pretty cool. My daughter gave me this, so that's nice.
Thank you, Jackie.
See,
you're lucky Bruce doesn't mind
3D
printed dice.
Well, I haven't used them yet. I just got it yesterday. I'll have to roll it. See if it's any good.
They don't roll well as much as I wish they did.
Well, I don't roll well anymore.
Well, it's not so much. Most GMs aren't so much that they don't roll well. It's the fact that part of the way through, if you print them right, part of the way through you can add a weight, so they are loaded.
Well, I couldn't tell that they felt different than the other ones.
That's what most GMs don't like about 3D printed dice is you can load them very easily.
Well, I don't think these are loaded. It's just from
I don't think your daughter would load your dice.
No, but she bought them at a little street fair.
Oh, well, in that case, they're probably not loaded. If she didn't 3D print them herself, then they're most likely not loaded.
No, I want one though. I do want to get one. I think I'd be really cool to have one. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I'd make, but I'd make stuff.
I will shoot you a link, Janet, to a company called Elegoo.
Okay.
Here from the 4th to the 30th of next month, they are going to have a 40% off everything sale.
Okay. Thanks. Right before Christmas.
Yep.
Maybe I'll get
actually,
one
it's
for
a Black
myself.
Friday sale for this one. For them, they're doing a Black Friday sale, but yeah. So it'll be I'm thinking about replacing my resin 3D printer with a new one during this sale because it is a 45% off everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good price.
Yeah, I like Elegoo. That's what Chris has. Chris has a really nice setup, Saturn II printer set It's very basic, but it's very nice for
But
what it does.
what's cool is this one printed out the 2 different colors. See, I thought you had to print it out and then you painted it.
All depends what
No,
color the
they're-
resin is on.
Well, those are probably if it's multicolored, then chances are it's filament because you can get printers that print in multiple color filaments. Or
Because see, it's like
prints
it's
one
cut.
color.
This has been cut.
Yeah,
It feels like it's been drilled or whatever. Like they printed it on this color and then they just cut it out. Cut the, it's like
why?
they
Because
press
it's flat.
something on it. Because
Why?
I can
It's
feel the
perfectly
dent.
edged.
Yeah, I can feel
Oh no,
the
no, you
dent.
could 3D print it that way.
Oh, really? I figured
Yeah.
you took a Dremel or whatever and cut it. I think
Nope.
it's really pretty, and the thought that she thought about getting this for me is just really sweet. So I'll have to
All right.
roll them a little bit and see how they do.
Thank you for being here, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday for Emerald Forest. Contact Janet if you want to know more. Crafting Gamer, you have a link for me, sir?
That's what I was trying to get to, and then I got distracted by Janet's dice.
I know. When Janet smiles at you, I lose blood sometimes.
Oh, you guys, so sweet. Thanks.
It's not our fault. I think God's the one that made you in this crafting in his little craftsman shop. Yeah, we got a fifth daughter here. Let me spend some time on this one.
Well, I was the third one.
I know. Have I met the baby of the family yet or no?
Yeah, Jennifer.
Okay.
You met her. Well, on here. You've met 3 of us. You got 2 others we haven't met yet. Well, one of them was in the chat that you haven't met, Kathy.
There you go.
So you got one more.
Okay. So if you
And-
want to know more
And
about
you
what
survived.
I enjoyed it. Our friend the Crafting Gamer is locatable at this YouTube site right here. Go ahead and give him a follow. Get him to 1,000 subscribers. I'd love to see him get monetized. He's got a lot of big plans for things in the future. So do I. But we are looking forward to seeing you again next Sunday. Next Saturday will be the special alpha test stream for the D&D group that does not play D&D. They're playing my special version of an RPG. And I hope to see all of you there. My name is Bruce Lombardo. Thank you for being part of today's stream, and we will catch